We are just chatting.
Perfect. There we go. You're coming through awesome.
Just two tired dudes chatting away.
We are. Yes, so hey there. Oh, there's my phone. Wow, look at that. See? The intro saved us. Anyway, hey there, either, oh there, everybody. Mindful Pig here, and of course, my wonderful co-host JW. Um, it is a Two Tired Dudes podcast. Like JW kind of hinted at there, you might have heard. This is one of the two remaining podcasts left for the year. We're not going anywhere. It just, we do our season finale because Christmas is busy and people need to have time to relax. And Mindful basically just needs some time to get caught up on everything. Um, so this one here is going to be all about our predictions for 2025. I didn't get any. No, I didn't really get any in the Discord. But that's okay. We'll have some of our own. I re-listened to our last year's podcast, so I'll probably touch a little bit on that stuff. Then we also have our weekly recap, of course, or our bi-weekly recap of everything that's happened. And then the big final show will be the podcast in 2 weeks from now, where we will be going over our games of the year. It's my favorite one to do just because I love hearing everyone's takes. So to be clear about everything, though, when I do this version of it, it's not games that came out in 2024. It's just a game that someone has played in 2024 for the first time. Or maybe they just, I'll even accept the fact if they played it for a couple hours and then fell off and then went back to it, and rediscovered that passion or joy for it. So yeah, we all just kind of go around. We discuss what we thought was our game of the year, which one really stood out between everything we played this year. Um, yeah,
I'm telling you, it's going to be better than the Game Awards.
it will be. It will be. And this year,
Jeff Kelly will eat his shoes.
he'll be sitting. Damn you, mindful pig! Just kidding.
Exactly.
Oh, the nice part with this year is that everyone will actually know that it's not just games that came out this year. Because I think that was the bad part about last year is I was the only person to name like an older game, and everyone was just like listing off games from that year. I was like, guys, it could be anything you played. um,
Yeah.
but yeah, speaking of that, my friend, what have you been up to the last couple weeks?
Not much. The same as last time. Silent Hill 2 remake and Diablo 4.
And how's
Both very fun.
how's the Silent Hill 2 journey going though?
Very good. I'm close to the end.
Nice.
The only thing is that I can only advance it when my wife watches it because she's now into it. It's like
Oh,
a good TV show for her. So now I have to play it when she's there. So because she can't play it, it's too much for her. So she needs me to play it.
I totally get it. I love games
And
like that.
yeah. So yeah, no, I know that I'm close to the end now, and yeah, no, I still have like extreme fun with it, and the way that they've remade everything is just insane. Like they've made an incredible job. It's a well-deserved remake. Sometimes I feel like remakes, not that they're not deserved, but it feels like a cash grab a bit. For me, Resident Evil 4 and Dead Space are two games like in that sort of vein. Not that I didn't play them, but like it's like the same game, right?
Yeah.
There wasn't really a change to the gameplay unless it got like, yeah, okay, you can argue that now there's a counter or whatever. They've just added stuff on top of it, but it's pretty much the same otherwise. So but they've changed it for an audience, a modern audience for today's audience, right? Instead. So these two games, I did not buy them or play them yet because they just look, exactly the same, even gameplay wise,
Yeah.
than the other one, and narratively they just didn't look better, right? So for me, something like Resident Evil 2 remake and Silent Hill 2 remake is perfect because this type of gameplay, I cannot deal with it with that kind of gameplay anymore, right? These old down and well, I can deal with it more with Resident Evil, though, I have to say. But Silent Hill somehow very poorly aged for me. This is a very archaic form of gameplay, right? So to me, that is a very good reason, and they've made great way of remaking it, of changing this aspect and making it more like along the sides of the Resident Evil remakes, right?
Let's say I didn't play either of them, and there won't be a chance anytime soon. I'll probably play Resident Evil, or sorry, Silent Hill 2. But I am curious when you're mentioning changes. Did they change like the story from what you remember, or is the story still the same? It's just all the gameplay has changed.
Um, it's sort of hard to explain, but short answer, they've essentially kept it the same, narratively speaking,
Okay.
but instead of having these very weird and bad dialogues that people liked because it sort of added to the eeriness of the game, right? Now it has a much better cast and much better performance, and like the I personally think it's much better than
Okay.
what they used to have. And they've made very small changes here and there, and made certain things less sexualized than there was in the original, which which sounds bad, but like they're very minute. Like it doesn't affect, like the core principle is still there, so it still works. You know, I'll give an example. When you first meet Maria, which is a character that follows James during his adventure,
Okay.
she's sort of very flirtatious, right? She's a bit of a femme fatale type of person, and so when they first meet, he mistook her for his wife for like a second, but then realizes, oh no, she looks like her, but it's not her. And so to prove that she's you know tangible, alive and not a ghost, she takes James' hand and she puts it like close to her chest, or like on like not her boobs, but on top.
Yeah.
And that's in the original, right, to make it more flirtatious.
Oh, okay.
But in the remake, they made it less like this. It's more, if I remember correctly, she tries to touch him just to show that she can hold stuff, and he backs away. So it's slight differences like this where the ambience, the concept, the thing is still the same, but it's just slightly different. Now, why did they make these changes? It's a some of it is a good question, but in general, they still have that same element that the original had. I find, right?
Oh yeah, that's not a
Like
bad
it didn't.
change.
No, it didn't take me out of it. That's more of my point. Even though it was different, it still had the same meaning, the same ambience, the same everything. And like the performance of James, like he's in the Game Awards nomination. I hope he gets it because he pulls an incredible performance. Um, and not only with his voice, but they use his face as the mocap as well. So what's his name? Luke something. I don't remember. But
Like they have one for
yeah,
voice actors. Is that what you're saying? Like a category for that?
yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Still, like I said, having fun. The gameplay is great as well. Like it's a game I could see myself replaying compared to the original. Because that's here's the relationship with me and Silent Hill 2, the original. Like I love the story, but really didn't like how obtuse the gameplay was, right? So
Yeah.
I played it once, and when I wanted to replay it, instead of replaying it, I would rewatch it on YouTube. instead, because I like the story so much, but I didn't want to go through all the stupidities and the sort of super obtuse combat and all that. So for me, this remake would probably, it'd probably be something I would replay with how the combat is done. My only complaint I think I would say with the remake is that there are small changes that I wouldn't have made. Speaking of those changes,
Okay.
and but it's very like minor. Like unless you played the original, you wouldn't even notice really, right?
Like
For
things you.
example, there's a section where there are flesh walls, right, where they sort of breathe, and there's like piston holes with piston going and with liquid coming out. Like it's very like uh, uncomfortable
Yeah.
that that place, right? And they sort of have something similar, but not quite. Like they have the flesh walls, but that's about it. Like the piston isn't there, or at least it doesn't move. There's no liquid, or none of those things. And there's even a significance behind this imagery. But all this to say, like these small, there's the flesh walls, but they don't move. It's just like there. And so that was a bit of a disappointment. But again, I know it because I played the original, right?
Yeah.
Someone that's new or that didn't play the original would probably not even blink and still be creeped out.
No, I get you, but that does add like that, that little bit of breathing action or whatever you want to call it. That does add value to the eerie element of what you're playing, right?
Yeah. And another thing I will say that is great with Silent Hill 2 Remake is how they changed the bosses. Because bosses in Silent Hill 2 were just terrible. It was like lock you in a room and you run around
Oh,
hoping for the best. So now they've changed some of the bosses and for the better, I would say for sure, and even added some narrative element to it. I would say that is very cool. Very like I would love to say it, but I don't want to spoil it either. So
no, I get you.
uh,
It's not just all
it's a
shoot and hope for the best.
yeah, it's a giant recommend for sure. I mean, unless they completely change the ending and it's terrible, which I seeing of how good they've done from keeping it to the original while added a bit of new into it. Uh, how good they've been at doing that. Like I doubt that the, they would fuck up the ending,
Yeah.
but hey, you never know. So I'll keep you posted for probably the next podcast. I'll probably have finished it.
Yeah, like that's I'm really curious about because I don't think Jimmy said it to me yet, but I'm very curious once you beat it if you're going to get like and you go back and try it again, right? If you're going to get different endings because that was a big thing for Silent Hill,
Yeah, in the
right?
original there were different endings.
Yeah, so I'm curious with if they're going to have their own like take on it, you know what I mean, or if they're going to keep it the way it was in the past, or yeah, really interested to see what's going to happen when you play it
Well,
again.
I can probably tell you right now by using the power of internet.
Because I just remember, like, I think it was All Time Gaming was I first learned it, where they had like the dog ending, or it was like there was some ridiculous stuff.
Yeah, okay, there are multiple endings.
Nice, that's pretty good, especially for a long game. That's actually not bad.
Yeah, well, I would say it's probably like a 20-hour to 30-hour game, like your first playthrough.
Yeah,
And then if you do a second playthrough, and now that you know like how the level works, the enemies and all that, that would probably half that. So you could probably do it in a 15 hours playthrough, 15 to 20 hours. But there's an achievement for doing it under 10 hours.
wow.
Uh, so there's many ways of finishing it, I guess.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, you're right. Because when you're not trying to solve the puzzles anymore, that's probably a lot faster going through those areas. And then, like you said, boss battles too. Once you start to know what to do.
Yeah. And
Uh,
I think, I don't remember if I said it last podcast or if it was during one of our Diablo 4 streams, but the only thing I'm disappointed, and that's for myself, like I did this to myself, it's like there are multiple difficulty settings, and I should have put puzzles at hard because they are more straightforward and easier than I remembered.
yeah,
Or
yeah.
maybe it's because I know some of them, so maybe that too. But yeah, no, like I really didn't get stuck on any puzzles, which, maybe it's a positive for some people. For me, I like to get stuck for a while on something, right?
Yeah,
And analyze it and try to get what to do and all that. But that's because I put the puzzles on hard. I mean, on normal,
normal,
because I
yeah.
wasn't sure what they had changed. So I wanted to keep it the normal way. But if I do a second playthrough, I would definitely do hard for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was the last podcast you're mentioning that yeah, you were a little bit disappointed in yeah, their difficulty. Um, I'm still curious. I really am curious, like what happens when you increase the puzzle difficulty. Like, I don't know, just I can't wrap my head around it. Like what are they gonna change in the game that's gonna make it more difficult for you to solve that puzzle, versus how you're playing it now? And can you change that setting at any
Well, me too.
time,
I'm wondering. I'm curious.
or is that setting like locked in once you start the game?
Uh, it's probably locked in. Like I haven't
Yeah,
tried. Like I didn't go into the settings, but I'm pretty sure it's locked in.
because if you could change it any time, then that's really gonna blow my mind. I'm gonna be like, well, then how the fuck did they do this? Like, um, yeah, no, I mean, great game. Like I said, if it doesn't walk away with some awards, I'll be pretty shocked. Which I
Well,
guess
actually, I would be annoyed if it got off with an award because like it's based on something that's already existing, right?
I
Like I don't
was
like the idea of remakes getting stuff,
I was just gonna
but
say that. Yeah, that whole conversation about how they should have their own category. That's incredibly smart. I think they should, especially with how many we have nowadays, compared
yeah,
to like
with how many we have now, I do agree. A remake category would be good, but like maybe I would be okay if it had like a technical award in terms of like, I don't know, graphics, performance, or technique used in technology for blah 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 reason. Something like that. I would be okay. But like if it won
yeah,
for best narrative, I would be like, well, the narrative was written like years ago. Like it's not fair.
that's true. Yeah. Even like I'm surprised we don't when they mention like not having a best DLC category. Um, I'm
Oh
I'm I'm
yeah.
shocked you don't have that. Like DLC's been around for so long. That only makes sense to have that award. But yeah,
Yeah, no, totally. Like Shadow of the Earth Tree should not be in the same category. This makes me sick because it
yeah,
means another possibility could have been there of another game, right?
yeah. And even if it won, right? Like I mean, I know someone was mentioning, oh, it'd be the second time it won, but like if it wins the second time, it kind of takes away. Well, at least to me, I feel it takes away from the first time it won it because there's no way in hell, as much as even like the biggest Elden Ring fan there is out there, can't justify that the DLC is just as good as the base game was. Like, there's no fucking way in hell. Um,
Especially that when it came out, it was pretty mixed. So,
exactly,
you know, it wasn't universally praised and loved like the base game when it came out.
exactly, yeah. Um, I know we kind of gave it away on the sorry, on the Diablo 4 stream there. But I'll just quickly tap into it again. The Withering Waves journey, from what I understand, has come to an end. That's why people haven't heard you talk about it, right?
Yeah, Withering Wave is dead now.
GW's over that timeline. um,
Well, I mean, it's just in terms of timing, I guess. Yeah, I was super into it, but then it was super long before they got a. Then it was super long before they had the second update of like the main story. Like there were a bunch of updates, but it didn't progress anything. So, and then I changed my computer, and then I didn't feel the need to download it again. So
Well,
Eh,
yeah, I was gonna say because I
it
remember
is what it is.
you were
Had a
talking
fun
about
time
like
while it lasted.
you were talking about like one event that you were working on there like a few months ago, right? And I feel like after that event, like there was barely anything that you had to say about it. So I get it. It was probably like a very slow progress to get things going on in that game. Um, yeah, yeah. TV
No, no,
shows.
well, like I said, I love doing the whole main quest. It's just it was the time between the main quest and the new update, right?
Oh, of course, I get that. As I say, TV shows. Would you say it on the Diablo
Oh,
4 stream? Can you hear me, JW? So it seems like at this point in the audio, um, Discord kept dropping my voice. So there's like a little bit tracker, and basically it skyrocketed, higher than it should have, and it basically kept cutting my voice out on JW's end. So on the stream you heard me perfectly fine, but on JW's side or any of the guests that joined, my audio would cut in and out. Um, so yeah, through editing magic, I'm gonna do my best to make sure that the podcast is still enjoyable. But if there are moments where you're just kind of like, that didn't line up," just know I tried my best. I do apologize for this. I leave and come back into the podcast quite a bit as well. That does fix it during certain parts, so hopefully it's still enjoyable.
okay.
Actually, if you're watching on the
So
stream,
where
sorry, buddy. I was gonna say if you're watching on the stream, you can literally
I was
see my
just
ping bar.
so I was just wondering where do you want to pick this off? Because we got left off on multiple sections.
I know. Okay, so Withering Waves, we know you're done with that one for right now. I was gonna ask you about
Yes.
the Penguin show because I know you were saying on Diablo 4 there that you
Yes.
finished it. And I'm pretty sure last podcast you didn't. I think you were still trying to wrap through that TV show.
Yes. And I still say it's definitely the best show of the year by far. It's awesome. It's great. You don't have to see the Batman to see it, but it does tie it into that same universe. But like if you don't care about the Batman and just want to see a good crime drama, that's also very good. Like it doesn't have any, link really to the Batman except, certain events, but again, like you don't need to have seen the movie to understand those.
Okay. Um,
And
did it
the
add any
characters, the
value?
actors,
Sorry,
what?
I was gonna say, did it add any value to like the movie? Like by watching that series, do you feel like you have like more excitement for the next movie? Like, did it add anything that might,
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, okay.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I don't know what the next movie have planned, but it definitely, hyped me up real good.
Oh,
And I think there might be something with maybe the Penguin, right? With this with how they presented the show, and then somewhere I don't remember if it's 25 or 2026, the second Batman should come out. So but yeah, no, the characters, the actors are great. Just it's super well written. Everything is well done. Like I really have no like criticism really to say about the show.
no, I mean that's great to hear. I was really curious. Like since I went down that little rabbit hole I was telling about, and they were mentioning how they might want to do multiple shows like this to really create that Batman universe. Um, yeah, I was just excited. I was just like, man, that'd be really cool. I don't want to say it, but like give it the Marvel treatment. I guess that's the best comparison I can think of right now. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm
No,
still
it's not like Marvel. It's not like Marvel at all. Um, it's not like Marvel at all because Marvel they sort of uh, try to tie in everything.
yeah.
There's like that you have to watch this thing to understand this part and blah blah. It's not like that, right? This is more of how it's more like an origin story, if you want, of the penguin. You see how he becomes the like gangster penguin, right? Because when you see him in the Batman movie, he runs a club, but he's not in the high ranking necessarily of the crime world, right? So this show you sort of see what happens and how he becomes that. So it's awesome to watch.
Oh, okay, okay. I get you. Yeah. Yeah, I gotta watch that one still. Um, was there any other movies or TV shows that you wrapped up,
I'm
JW?
mindful I'm not hearing you if you're talking. Close everything you have in or anything that uses the internet.
It is. There's nothing else on except for the restream that I have to have open,
Okay.
and then the Discord itself.
So if I had anything wrapped up, I recently watched actually a movie. You know the movie Speak No Evil with James McAvoy?
Yeah, yeah. I think I saw trailers for it.
Okay. So I was saying I saw Speak No Evil, but not the one with James McAvoy, because it still costs something to see it. Like $20 on the streaming services, because it's still in the cinema. So, but I discovered that it was actually a remake of a Dutch film with the same name. So I listened to the original Dutch film instead, and it was very good. It was definitely worth a watch, and I don't want to say anything really because it's really interesting. Like it's all about how the things that people do to remain polite and nice and not to seem bad, right? And so yeah, that's pretty much the only thing I'll say. And so that was a super interesting, and uh, I can't wait actually to see the remake and compare it and see how they differ and if they talk about the same thing really, because sometimes remakes take the opposite route, right? Mm,
There we go. Okay, just making sure my mic was working. Um, was the
yep,
Dutch version like a lot older or
not that much older. Well, I actually don't know, but visually speaking, it looked quite recent.
okay? I was
So
curious.
I'm going to search it now and tell you this. It's a 2022 psychological horror.
Oh, okay. That's not that far away. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's very, very close.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that one did look good though. I remember seeing trailers for the newer version.
Oh yeah, and there's James McAvoy in it. He's such a good actor.
It was sorry, was there anything else you had, JW, that you wanted to talk about?
Not in terms of movies and shows. Like those two are my main recent ones.
All right.
Um, and yeah, in terms of games, I haven't played anything other than that really. Uh, I've I've tried like the multiplayer a bit of Space Marine 2. Didn't think it was that great, so I stopped playing. And
Oh, really?
well, the PvP side, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like I didn't try yet the online PvE cooperation type of thing. Um, but yeah, no. So for now, it's only the campaign that's really really good.
No, fair enough. I mean, it's worth it alone just for a campaign.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just the campaign alone is worth definitely the buy and the play. Like I'm redoing or will redo the campaign on the hardest difficulty, right? I've already started that, so it's fun enough to redo.
Yeah. Okay. Now for the probably the worst part of the podcast, I'm gonna see if I can talk about games without cutting out. I'm just like watching the ping right now. Like, don't you dare, Spike Boy. um. Okay. Like honestly, the last 2 weeks, I feel like JW as well. Like I don't want to just go back in and talk more Resident Evil 4. I mean, I did play more Resident Evil 4, but until I finish it, there's not really too much to say. I did make it to. I don't think I talked about last podcast. I think last podcast I was getting close to fighting the little guy. So I beat that boss, and I've already moved on to the third boss, which I was telling JW is just another reason why I love that game. Every time I think I'm getting close to the end, it surprises me with a whole nother part to the game to continue that story going. So yeah, excited to finish up that one. I definitely played more Diablo 4 with JW, which I guess I kind of forgot that there were acts in Diablo because we were just having so much fun with the areas that we've been in so far. So when you said Act Two, like a part of me kind of like died a little bit on the inside. I was just like, oh man, we're gonna leave this world behind after all of this that we've been through so far. Like I'm excited, right? But in the same breath too, I'm just like I have like that. I don't know if you get that feeling too, where I'm just like, oh man, I don't want to miss something like a side quest that might have been important for us to do, such as like a skill point or something useful. Not like the Grizzly Mall that was completely useless to do.
Oh
Um,
yeah, for sure. No, I normally agree, but I think since it's a multiplayer ish game, you will like there's nothing of that. Like it's a big open world that will probably be able to come back and all that, right?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope it's not like because the other Diablos, right? Once you finish the act, you just well, I guess you could travel back. Yeah. You're right. Maybe it'll be fine. We'll just be advancing the story. Um, I'm still with you. I even thought about this. Oddly enough, when I was having a shower, I was thinking about Diablo in general, and I was like, he's right though. Like there is literally nothing story wise. I mean, there's cool cutscenes. Don't get me wrong. Diablo 2 had some great ones, but Diablo's story is really nothing to like go home to and like brag about. So I don't know why. I don't know why in my head I thought Diablo 4 story was going to take me by storm. Because it's no different than the previous entries. It's always kind of been the same generic story. Um,
No, but I do think the writing of dialogues are way worse in this than, let's say, Diablo 2,
yeah,
which shouldn't be
that's
because it's
true.
been many years between the two. Like, I find in Diablo 2, all the characters and the writing of the dialogue, sometimes they were cheesy, but there was a lot of character behind it. You know, they were very, there was something there. And here it feels all very generic, right?
Do you think that's
And
because they expanded
lots
too
of
much?
words. Yeah, lots of words, but not much substance, right?
Yeah, because you bring up a good point, right? Like in Diablo 2, you usually had like a set base camp. So I mean, there was only like a handful of characters to really get to know. Where in this one you have like multiple villages. I wonder if that's maybe why we're feeling like it's enjoyable, but at the same time, you're right. Like story wise or dialogue or whatever, you're not going to get drawn into anything.
Yeah, and
Like we,
I mean, multiple NPCs say stupid stuff with like very bad voice acting,
very very true. I was gonna say
which you can all see on YouTube on my channel and on Mindful's channel.
yeah. Well, JWs, yeah, you got the Diablo stuff going on. I love watching those shorts and videos you upload. But I was gonna say maybe that's
Yeah, and I have a new video that hopefully I will release tomorrow, if not somewhere this week, but probably tomorrow.
yeah. Is that
And
video? Sorry, is that for the one we just played, or is that like a previous playthrough we had?
no, previous,
Oh,
because
okay.
it's long to do, so I'm behind.
No.
But
It's hard. It's hard editing. I get it.
not only that, but like I sort of do these bigger videos only when when I have an idea or like I feel like it. It's not like I do them to follow the playthrough step by step, right?
Yeah,
And but yeah, no, the but yeah, no, the writing in Diablo 4, like it shows that they have a whole world, that, or they want to explain to you the whole world, but somehow they don't have the writing skills to do so. Because they have all these settings, angels, this person does that, and all of that. But uh, at the same time, there's like I said, no substance to the conversations. Like we've had many, many cutscenes with many, many NPCs, and they're sort of dead inside.
Yeah, yeah. Like even that angel that we came across, like I could care less what happens to him at this point. Like he has no value to me. Um Unlike, previous entries where like, you actually were invested in Teriel and you wanted to, either work with him or know what the heck was going on in his head in later entries. Yeah. Yeah, just
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. Like,
But yeah, no, but now, like I said, it's more of an open world. So I think like a lot of the NPCs are like generic MMORPG NPCs, right?
yeah.
Instead of like your camp. Your camp in Diablo 2 was a bit like the camp you have in Baldur's Gate 3, right? Where, because in Baldur's Gate 3, when you go to rest, you sort of have this camp with your companions. Well, you had basically something similar with Diablo 2, where you every time you had to come back to this camp, and there were always something new to learn about these characters, these vendors, these whatever, and then they sort of became these weird, interesting characters, right?
That, and I don't know if you feel it the same way, but I'm hoping as we progress that Lilith has a little bit more of an impact for me. Right now, like she had a cool entrance, like when she came in and she was born or whatever the hell that was. Um, but like since then, it hasn't been too much. Like at least Diablo, I felt like I was like, oh man, I gotta get this fucker. Like like I gotta take him down. But with Lilith, like I'm not like I know I don't feel too concerned right now with her, and I feel like I should be. Like this is supposed to be the end all be all at the end of the game, right?
It's because she walks around lecturing people, but like there's no advancement in the plot, right?
Yeah,
Like there's no like the last thing we know is that her son died and she got the key to hell, right?
yeah, and like that
So
should have been a big deal. Like when we were both like talking about that, I was like, man, if that was her son, and like it was if her husband or whoever the hell it was supposed to be was actually an angel, like that should have been like a huge plot or a key point to the plot, right? But yeah, it was almost like they just kind of threw it casually under the bus, like they didn't even like to help
but
you.
that's the thing. We ended the act with this, right?
Yeah,
Like this should have been a part somewhere in the act. This shouldn't have been the only thing we've gotten from the act. There should have been more
very true.
story rise, plot rise.
Yeah, yeah, very true. Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to see. I know Diablo games can be like that. Some acts just suck. In other acts, they really tie it all together. So maybe, yeah, maybe Act 2 and 3 will be better.
Maybe.
But yeah, like I said in the beginning, like if you're gonna play this game, it's definitely just for the character builds, because it makes that
Oh yeah.
whole part exciting with the game. Like JW, we were saying, we wish we could get more than one skill point per level, because there's so many things I want to invest in right now that I keep looking at.
Yeah, I keep changing my abilities in different ways, right?
What's the fun part, right? Like now we're at the part where we get these cool items, and the items actually like have benefits to the skills you want to use. Like your flame one was so cool that now it like spreads into like three different pillars. I love that,
Yeah,
and
instead of one.
yeah, the meteor one, that one's wicked too.
Oh yeah, especially that I can spam it as long as I have mana.
I mean, you did pretty good though. There were some moments there where you really covered the ground. Um, yeah. So other than Diablo 2, or Diablo 2, Diablo 4. Wow. um,
I mean, if we had cross-platform on Diablo 2 remastered or whatever it's called, rekindled the hell or whatever.
I wish it was called
I
that.
yeah, right. Um, we probably would have played together, but like, uh, yeah, there's no cross-platform, so
No, I
that
agree.
won't happen.
Such a missed opportunity. I don't know why you would have remade a game and not thought of putting that in there. That just seems stupid.
Well, you know what I think, and I think if it was more popular, they would have added it at some point. But I think it's not that popular. The remaster they've made.
I think so too. Yeah.
Like even if you go on Twitch, there's like very few people that streams Diablo 2 remastered or Diablo 2 period
Like,
compared to let's say Diablo 4, right?
yeah, like I said, like the game looks nice for sure, but there was a lot of quality of life stuff I'm surprised they didn't fix that I think would have made a big difference. Such as like
Well,
I
I
just
think they were scared of changing anything to and upset people.
true, yeah, yeah, that's true too. You're right.
Because you know there are some weird stuff sometimes that people latch on and they're like, "Oh no, now that you've taken this away, it takes away the experience." For
Yeah,
example, the running and walking. Oh, it takes away the experience because when I was running away from a horde and then I didn't have, you know,
you ruined the game for me.
it's not Diablo 2.
Yeah.
It's an imposter.
Oh god. But I was gonna say, other than that, it was the homeless simulator that I played, as well, which was
That's not a game.
yeah. Oh man, I really really wanted that to be like a hobo GTA. That would have just made my night, but no, it didn't turn out to be that way. I'm really
It's
shocked.
cheapware. It's not a game.
Yeah, like I'm just really shocked that like even on day 30, they weren't like, now you're a full hobo, go and enjoy yourself. No, they still gave you some shitty quest where you had to fucking beg for change, which I will probably never complete, or I'll try and just keep frustrating myself. One of the two. Because basically, like I was telling JW, the idea behind it is, I mean, you do everything normal, right? You look for food, you go to the health clinic, whatever you get, whatever the hell you get. Um, you find shelter, and it's just like all these really basic missions to do with that stuff. And then the final one is you have to beg for money, but you have to beg for 150 coin. And it seems like once you reach 130 coin, your character dies of thirst, because it's a long process to build up that accumulation of money. Now the problem is that logically you should just be able to walk up, have a glass of water, then sit back down and collect money again. But you can't fucking stand. So I have to figure out a way how to time that perfectly where I can collect $150 right before my hydration drops down to zero. But that's if I want to
Right.
get that invested in that game, which I probably don't. I don't think it's that
I was going
important.
to say that's what I was going to say. If you really want to invest that much into a cheapware like that, sure.
It's got to do for my first platinum, man. Like,
Oh my god.
imagine. But yeah, yeah.
Like I platinum Stellar Blade this year, you will platinum the Hobo game.
God, that's terrible when you put it that way. Oh shit. Yeah, other than that, I've just been doing the Harry Potter binge with Cheyenne. So we just finished Goblet of Fire, and then we were starting the most annoying one, Order of the Phoenix. I hate that one
Yeah.
just because that stupid Ministry of Magic bitch. She's like, fuck her. She just makes me so mad every time I see her in that movie.
Oh, yeah, she makes me think of some teachers I've had for sure.
Right? Yeah. Oh, like the
And
actress.
probably JK herself probably had teachers like that as well.
No kidding. Like the actress herself does a great job, obviously, with that role. But yeah, she's just such a bitch. Like just such a bitch throughout the whole movie. Um, yeah, yeah. This I mean, this one's cool though, because you get to see one of my well Cheyenne's favorite witch too, Bellatrix, Tim Burton's wife. She does a really good job in that movie. I liked her.
Yeah, yeah,
And then you have that cool scene. Well, okay, when we first saw it, we saw it at the IMAX. So I don't know if you remember or not, but there's a scene where they're like going at it, right? They're all casting spells between the Death Eaters and the Order of the Phoenix, and all these potions are falling down. And like the movie was
yeah.
advertised as like 3D, right? But that was literally the only fucking 3D part we had in the whole movie. But when it did happen, it was pretty badass, I will admit. But yeah, it was like we got so mad. We had the glasses on the whole time. I was like, shit, I think we got ripped off. And then finally that scene appeared, and we're like, this is what we paid for.
Oh, 3D is such a scam.
It really
Uh,
was. For that movie, at least. Fucking 2 hours for 10 minutes.
for most movies, no, it was just a way to make you pay more.
Yeah.
And there was some cinemas that only had 3Ds. Like they would bank on that. Or if your closest cinema was that cinema, well, you're fucked. You're obligated to pay extra just to see 3D, even if you didn't want to see 3D.
Yeah, I think for us, that was all the IMAXs. They really focused on that.
Not anymore, though.
No. I know, eh? Man.
Man, does it take time before companies like sort of get the hint? Like it's crazy, because 3D was stuck there for a while there.
Yep.
Like it took years.
Yeah. I know, just.
Like, and people don't want it, they hate it, but they're still like, no, no, I look, we've invested in this, we know you want it. We're like, no, nobody asked for this, we don't want this. How about some smell-o-vision? No, just want a movie.
I don't know why, when you said that, that reminded me of that short I posted for you guys with PlayStation not picking Bloodborne.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm I would love to know the reason, but I'm sure there's a technical reason behind it. Like I'm sure they lost the source code or something like that.
Do you think it's that, or do you think they're just saving that for when PlayStation really fucks up and needs to win the fans back? Because I almost feel like that.
No,
No? Okay.
no, no. I don't think. No, I don't think it's a saving grace type of thing. Of like, okay, we're down in the gutter. Nuke them with Bloodborne. Like I don't think it's anything like that. I
But
think there's probably like a red tape of some kind, licensing or a source code, like something that internally everybody is like shitting their pants about, but that we have no idea.
oh, you know, you could be right though. Because we do know that there's talk, right, of Sony wanting to buy, was it the parent company from Soft?
Yes,
So if they do, and then we do get Bloodborne on PC, then yeah, you might be right. Because then they'll, they'll have more control over that company.
if you know, again, if it's them that have Bloodborne. Like
Exactly.
I have no
Yeah.
idea the
The actual ownership.
proceedings and all that behind it, right? Maybe, like I said, it's just they've lost the source code.
That could be too, yeah. I was really surprised
Yeah,
that
there's.
Spider-Man 2 DLC also got canceled.
Well, why do you think that is?
Well, I know Spider-Man 2 like wasn't the hottest game when it came out compared to the first one.
There you
Uh,
go.
but I thought I would have
If
done.
it doesn't do well, there's no reason to do DLC for it, right?
Yeah.
Compared to the first one, let's say the first one went bank bust, so they did a bunch of DLC for it. Now they've invested so much money into making this game, didn't get that much in return, so they're like, ugh, I don't want to pay more for DLCs that I'm not even sure that's going to sell, right?
Yeah. I guess I assumed because such a big name like Spider-Man that they would almost be like obligated to at least do one DLC for it or something.
I mean, it is surprising. I am surprised with it, but yeah, no, I see it as they're cutting their losses because there's the whole Concord fiasco. There's like a bunch of games where they've put so much money into it and that didn't bring back as much as they had predicted, right?
That's true. Um, yeah. yes, that was it for movies and TV shows and games for myself. Okay, so looks like the pig thing's kind of calming down. It's only spiked once so far, so it might be safe to jump into the actual topic. I was gonna say predictions of 2025 that we had as far as gaming goes. So quick little recap, like I was telling everyone in the Discord last year, we all made some educated guesses on what we thought 2024 would bring. Um, JW nailed it as far as delays go. He called it, saying that a lot of games that were supposed to come out this year would probably get delayed to next year. Um, um,
I'm going to precise a lot of Xbox games.
I was just gonna say,
You know,
I was gonna say it was
you know
mostly
the
Xbox.
showcase that everybody was saying, "Oh wow, isn't it great? Like they're showing a bunch of games that's going to come out next year. Oh, isn't that awesome? What a great showcase! So much better than PlayStation. Only none of it happened."
I know you did call that one 100%. You said that was gonna take place. That all these games, because they didn't have set timelines, they were all gonna come out in later years.
Yes,
In
because
fact,
you see, we've had a lot of games where they've had a date, then push back, date, then push back, date, then push back, and it angered a lot of people. So they sort of half learned from this. So now instead of putting dates, they're just putting years, and then they can push back whenever.
yeah, like I say, I think the only one that we're gonna get this year is Indiana Jones. Like out of that entire list of games.
That is, if it still makes it. But yes,
Yeah, that's true. It's only got like a month left, a month and a bit. But
yeah, I
yes,
think it's going to make the date, and and I'm really stoked for it. Actually, like I'm hoping to play it. I hope there's no bullshit like I need a Microsoft account to play the single player Indiana Jones, right? But
well, okay. So I listened to a few people that have played it.
uh-oh.
That one XNC podcast that I always show you guys. And then I listened to a few of his buddies because they all got a chance to go out there, right? And nothing bad, but it's so funny because when they first talked about it, it was all this hype about how this is going to bring Xbox back and this is the game that's going to be, right? After these guys came back, they're Indiana Jones fans, and they basically said, "No, as an Indiana Jones fan, I loved it. It was great. It was exactly what I wanted. It was what I expected. You're not going in there like Wolfenstein shooting up shit. Like it's actual like Indiana Jones. You're solving puzzles. You're using your whip and stuff like that to get through things. There's a few gunfights here and there. They didn't play the full game. They've just played, whatever they were allowed to for that 2 hours. Um, but it was just that whole tone of how it was like, this is gonna be the Xbox, game to bring us back to. Okay, well, if you like Indiana Jones, you're gonna like this game. If you're not a fan of that,
Do you know how does this sound like? It sounds like a 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10.
yep, that
So
sounds
it sounds
right.
like it's going to be a good game, but not incredible.
Yeah, like I said,
But one way or the other, I'm planning to probably get it on launch because I am a fan of Indiana Jones. So
yeah,
having a
same here.
proper game that actually looks good, that's definitely something that I'm hyped for, right?
And how did they phrase it now? They said like this is like kind of capturing Indiana Jones before these newer movies came out. So if you like the older movies and stuff like that,
Oh, great. Okay.
yeah, they said you'll definitely like how this game is going with its storyline and stuff.
Great, because yeah, those newer movies sucks. Like
Yeah,
I don't know if you've seen the last one, what is it called? I don't even remember what it's called.
was it the
The
Circle of
last movie
Life?
they did.
Oh, I can't remember now.
No. The Circle is the game that is
Oh, right.
coming out.
Yeah, that's right. No,
Anyway, it sucks big time.
yeah, I heard it was a real little disappointment. I didn't end up
Yeah,
watching
no,
that
it's
one.
more than a disappointment. Like it's bad. Like I think no, it's really bad. It's the Dial of Destiny, the last one they did.
Oh, okay.
Everybody hates like the fourth one, the Crystal Skull, which I sort of half like. There's a part of me that sort of like it, but I can recognize like it's not that great compared to the other ones.
Yeah.
But this one, the Dial of Destiny, is just plain bad, boring bad, like just bad.
What a way to end
Anyways,
off a legacy. Like shit.
well, this is what happens when Disney buys IPs that they don't understand.
Yeah, very
It's
true.
that simple.
Um
Because they've done the same thing with Star Wars.
oh god,
Even
yeah.
worse. I would say even worse actually with Star Wars. It's like they're pumping a dead corpse. Like terrible.
I know there was even a couple of videos watching because I haven't watched a lot of the new Star Wars stuff, right? But they were kind of even just showing like the lightsaber battles. They were really fixated on that one, showing you the difference of what it looked like, from our generation growing up watching Star Wars to what it is now. And yeah, it was so shit. It was just such a shit battle. I was like,
I wonder which one you're talking about because it depends of the show actually.
oh, okay. I think these were the movies they were showing it from. Um,
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, for sure.
It was very like
'Cause-
slow battling, and I was like, man, it's like lightsabers supposed to be like lightning fast, like it's like two swords going at it. Um,
Well, they were trying to recapture, the sort of battles that there was with the original, not the prequels, with the original series where it was methodic. It was like a sword fight, like you say, methodic, like with like there were fast hits, but just a couple. It wasn't like a bunch of flipping and different moves like in the prequels, where in the prequels they're like essentially almost superheroes, right? Where they
yeah.
just jump around and they're at their peak of their power, right? Which I think that's what George Lucas says as well, that he wanted to represent like the Jedi's at their peak of their power in the prequels compared to the original series where it's like everything has been
Oh,
dwindled and like the art of the Jedi has been lost along the years. So like you have the lightsabers and all that, but like they don't have the that same power and that they used to have, right?
okay. You know what? It's cool. Like, I mean, not to get off track that we were talking about, but it is really cool to like hear, like from A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back, like that timeline, to hear those actors talk about what George Lucas's thoughts were for the prequel. Like, as he's doing these movies, he's already explaining like how this is going to affect the story when he starts doing the prequels. It's just, yeah, it was just neat how he had this all in his head, like how it was gonna come down.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like he had great ideas. That guy.
Yeah. But yeah, I was gonna give a shout out to Jimmy. So Jimmy, he I guess his predictions were more of just what he was gonna play. But he did nail it. He did technically play every game he said he was gonna play. Um, when they were gonna come out and stuff. He was a little bit off on his release dates that he predicted. I think he even I'm pretty sure there he was mentioning Silent Hill 2 at the time, but he predicted that to come on the summer. Obviously, it didn't. Um, and there was a few other games he was off by, like just by a couple months. It wasn't too bad. And then of course, Mindful, my one and only. Well, I had a few predictions, but my major prediction was that it was going to be the year of Sega, and it did turn out that way. Sega released a lot of great bangers. So just gonna throw that out there. My first ever prediction.
Well, what did they release except Sonic Shadow
So we had
whatever?
Yukaza right in the beginning there. That
Oh,
one
that's right.
that did
Everybody loves that one. That's true.
yeah, the Unicorn Overlord, that one hit off pretty good too. You're right, you had this
What's Unicorn Overlord?
um like I didn't get to play it. But I feel like it's similar to like Call to the Lamb. Here, I had the list up here earlier. I'll just pop it back open quick.
Oh, I see. Okay, it's the game from that. Okay, I see. I see. It's a sort of strategy RPG.
Yes, yes. Um There we go. Sega's list here of games from 2024. Um, I don't know. Everyone always listed Demon Slayer, but I'm not really going to count that. But apparently, that was a pretty interesting game that came out. Um,
Why aren't you counting it?
oh, because I just I don't know. I didn't think Demon Slayer, like, I know it's a pretty big anime, but I didn't think it was that big of a deal.
Oh yeah, no, everybody loves Demon Slayer. Like I haven't watched it, but I know that everybody loves that show.
Like, it's interesting. I've seen like an episode or two, but like, yeah, I don't know. I still think I said I have to get back into anime. I feel like I kind of just fell in the loop of that one. But yeah,
Well, I don't know. I think a lot of animes are overrated these days.
yeah.
Like I myself have trouble getting into a lot of the newer ones. Like I think the only one I've really liked was Chainsaw Man. That was the like really surprisingly good. Like the characters are super well written. So it's really the characters that sell the anime more so than the world or plot or whatever. Like it's just fun to watch these characters go and their backstory and all that. So I highly recommend Chainsaw Man actually.
Sorry, I forgot. The biggest one was Metaforman or Metaphor. Um, that one too. That came
Oh
out this
yeah,
year. That was really big. And then there was Persona 3 Reloaded at the very beginning of the year as well. That one did really well too for coming out. But yeah, so anyway, yeah, Sega had quite a few hits this year. Um, as far as games coming out. And the exciting part was, at least for me, is that we haven't even touched what they announced last year at the I think it was at the Game Show Awards, as far as what Sega has planned for the future, bringing back their old titles and remastering them, so that they're fresh coat of paint for a whole new audience. Because we did just
they could make new stuff as well. Like it could be interesting. Just saying.
oh yeah, yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I agree. It would be nice. I guess I'm just excited because I like the Sega Genesis, and I think there were a lot of great games on there. So it's just kind of, like, to see Golden Axe in like a whole new idea of how they're gonna run that game would be really neat. Personally, I would love to see it go from a hack and slash to an RPG. I think it has, it's a very easy transition. I always thought that game would do great as an RPG. There's was a Jet Guard Radio that's supposed to come back, Crazy Taxi, um, Shinobi. Sorry, that was what Jimmy, I know he was excited over. But yeah,
Right.
I'm pretty sure this will be soon because as we saw it, I think last month it was, Sega pulled all of their previous games off the digital front. So now you don't have access to those mega collections or whatever version you might have had back in the day, for those older retro titles. So obviously that's a sign of the next phase that Sega has for those games being released. But yeah, that was our predictions for last year. Mr. JW, did you have any predictions for 2025?
Nope.
You said this last year, man.
No, I don't know. Do you have like a list of takes and I can tell you yes or no?
Okay, well, here I'll because I feel you'll be on the same page with this. My hot take for
Mindful?
oh no,
Oh, you're
is it a little rough right now? Yeah, okay, it is. Okay, here, I'll just do the disconnect.
now it's okay.
Here, I'll do a quick disconnect and reconnect. There, since that seems to work pretty well every time I do it.
Okay.
Okay, so
So
my
you were saying hot take.
yeah, like, I mean, this one I feel is pretty obvious. But just based on what we saw this year, you mentioned it earlier how we had a lot of remakes and remasters. I feel like next year it's just going to be a circus with those. Like, I feel like we're going to get flooded with remasters, remakes. I think we're going to see less original games and just more heavy focus on that.
I'm not sure I agree actually with this
Oh, okay.
because a lot of remakes we've had this year did not necessarily do well or do as projected. You know, like Final Fantasy Rebirth, for example. Yeah, it's nominated, for all sorts of awards at the Game Awards, but I know that it did not reach the expectations that Square Enix had for it, right? Like it did a lot less sales than the previous titles, and I think even it has a mixed reception, and I think there's been multiple titles like this throughout this year where it's been like this. So I don't know if we're going to be flooded with this next year because they've already started working on it, so they're going to finish it. But I'm not sure the reception will be good, right?
I was just taking a quick little peek just to see if there was anything listed. The first thing that popped up was Nintendo apparently is going to have Splinter Cell Blacklist, Rayman 3, Driver, and Driver 2 um, as remasters for 2025. Um, I know I saw a
Okay,
few.
but the Switch doesn't count. They are a remaster. No, but really, they are the port console. Like there's like a game from like 10 years ago that's going to be ported on Switch, and somehow it's going to work like less well than it was on PS2 or something.
No, that's so true. Um,
Like Amnesia, for example.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, that was fucking terrible. No, you're right. You're right. Like I said, like I mean, we also, like I said, we'll have to see what happens, right? But I am gonna count the Sega releases also as remasters or remakes, obviously, because they're previous games. Um, if let's say like you're on a like while we're on the subject of the Switch, if the Switch 2 releases, there has been that rumor that still hasn't been mentioned, which I'm assuming is going to be a launch title, but they did talk about having Breath of the Wild remastered. There's been a lot of heavy rumors, I would say, about that game.
Okay, you want a prediction? I'll give you a prediction.
Oh, okay.
There's going to be Switch 2 next year with um, the new Metroid tied with it as a launch title.
Oh, yes, I can see that because it's been a while since.
Because yeah, well, it's also in the most anticipated games in the Game Awards, so there is hype behind it for sure.
Okay. I was gonna ask you about that one too. For the Switch 2, what do you think? Are we gonna see that in like the first couple quarters or the last couple quarters of the year?
Um, I have no idea. I would say maybe towards the middle, towards the summer, more so than the
Ooh.
beginning, right?
You think the summer? Yeah, okay.
I think so.
Because I was trying to base.
They want people to line up and not stand in the cold, so.
That's true. No, that's true. Because I like.
No, I'm just joking. People don't line up anymore. They get their console from scalpers online.
But no, I was thinking like I was gonna say the summer too, but then as a gamer, I'm thinking about like, okay, I know we don't really have the best launches or sales in the summertime because most people aren't playing games, right? They're outside having fun, etc. Um, so I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's portable.
that's true. It is portable. Um, so I was like, okay, it could either be March and April.
Or maybe just before summer, or around that time, but not beginning and not the end either.
Yeah, like as much as I don't want to think it would come out between March, April, or May, it seems more plausible than it coming out the end of next year. I think that's just too late at this point.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think the hype is high enough right now, and I think with all the stuff that they've been slowly leaking out about it, like backwards compatibility and all that, I think for sure we're going to see it. Um, like you just said, either before summer or close to summer. Um, yeah, yeah. Metroid's a great take, though.
Want another prediction?
Sure.
The Switch 2 won't be that more powerful than uh, any other console that exists on the planet.
Well, that's a given. Yeah, we know Nintendo is like the poor man's console. Um,
Yep. No, but because there were a while a rumor that it would be like as powerful as the Steam Deck and like have a bunch
Oh
of
my god.
or as a laptop or you know something like that. So no, I'm pretty sure if it becomes that powerful, your Steam Deck would be covered in cardboard to save cost, right? So no, it will probably be better. Like it's gonna be. I expect it to be um, like the Switch Pro, right? And not like a revolutionary next gen new console.
Like I have nothing really to base this on, other than like sheer hope. But based on trends, I really thought about this, right? Okay, so um, what was it before? It was the Super Nintendo to the N64. So the N64 was good. The Wii was good. Oh, sorry, yeah, no, N64 to GameCube. Okay, yeah. So it seems like every second console is like the shit one, right? So N64 was good. GameCube was all right. Um, Wii was amazing. Wii U sucked. Switch did great. So logically, this one should be shit. Um, but something about it just tells me, like, just with the long wait in the console generation, and just with the secrecy behind it, I feel like you're right. I feel like the Switch 2 will be pretty similar to the Switch, but I feel like there is something with that device, which is why they're not talking about it or showing any more about it. I feel like it's going to offer something. Now, whether that something's going to be great and we're all going to go for it, or if it's going to be shit like, let's say, the Nintendo 3DS was, like good idea, just didn't work out, or the Wii U, how it ended up looking. Well, I guess we'll remains to see.
No matter what it is, it's going to sell well though, unless they pull a PlayStation and that it costs like $1,000. So,
Yes.
which I doubt they never do that. So
Yeah, no, they never would. But yeah, yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling that the Switch 2 is going to do really well, but it's like I said, my whole basis of this is just what that hidden mechanic's going to be that they're going to offer this time. Because it's Nintendo, they're always going to offer something ridiculous. that's that's about their console. Um, yeah.
now you can put now you can put cards and CDs in your Switch.
I know, right?
You can play a movie on your Switch on the go. Yeah, but nobody has DVDs anymore. Oh, right. We didn't thought that to put Netflix on Switch. Shit.
It's like, we know you like vibrations, but have you ever wanted to smell what's in your games? um,
I can totally see the commercial too. Like, have you ever wondered what it smelled like? And then they're like in a sewer area, and then the kid looks at her mother going, "Oh,"
you know you love
like
Mario. Do you
those
ever wonder?
old '90s commercial.
You ever wonder what the Mushroom Kingdom smells like? Oh my god, that'd be too good. Um,
Yeah.
what about PlayStation? Like, how do you think they're gonna do for next year with all the stuff that's kind of gone on this year? I feel like their reputation's gotten hurt a little bit. Um,
Yeah, they always do that. Basically, PlayStation, here's their cycle. They do extremely well, too well. Then they're like, okay, time to fuck up. So then they do a bunch of weird decisions. Then everybody hates them. Then they're like, fuck, we really messed up this time. Okay, time to pull up our sleeves. And then they come up with like the best thing you'll ever see in your life. And then they'll go back to like, oh, we're doing great. Okay. And, it's this constant cycle. So if you follow the cycle, next year should be getting better, but I somehow think they'll be losing more money. I think
ooh, okay.
I don't think they're gonna be better yet. I think maybe an extra year or two before that. So more weird decisions, more losing money because they've invest too much money into their budgets of games, and because of just consoles being too expensive. You mean the PS5 Pro is a scam.
Yeah.
Especially that some games have problem correctly running on it, right? Like they have weird visuals, aberrations that the normal PS5 doesn't have.
What really shocked me too, but made me happy was on the Super Show podcast there when they mentioned that like talking about console sales, right? How the PS5 Pro, was easy. It's in stock, like you can order it whenever you want. But the disc tray, if you wanted to buy that one was sold out. And your only option was scalpers. Um,
Oh yeah. Well, I'll I'll if you want to add to that prediction, the next consoles they won't have a disc tray. Like beside the Pro, I don't think they'll have a disc tray anymore. And that would probably mean that will be my last consoles as well.
yeah,
Like if there's no disc tray, I'm done. Like really,
yeah, me too.
like I can buy my games on PC. Like
like
so.
like PlayStation, I'm
But yeah,
hoping.
no. But yeah, no. That's the core demographic. The people that want the console are the people from our generations, right? That grew up with consoles, with disc trays, with all that, which is why the disc tray is out of stock, but not the console.
Yeah, yeah, it's such a shame because I know, like you said, like newer generations won't get it, but there was something so exciting about waiting for that announcement to happen and just seeing that like leap forward that consoles took. Like I remember like when Xbox and PlayStation 3 and what do you call it? The Wii and like all that stuff was getting announced, right? Like it was such a cool like visual to see, like when you go from like the fucking N64, to like this next advanced system. And it can be something as like, I mean, I laugh about it now, right? But back then it was cool. It's like, and you can put your music on it. It's like, holy fuck, what? No way. Like it was just,
Yeah.
what I mean? Like there was just such cool like mechanics and stuff. And like, oh, I love that. I miss that. But I get it. Like I don't feel that way when I saw the PS5 Pro. I wasn't like, oh wow, this changed the game. Like,
Well, because it doesn't.
yeah.
Like, there's nothing really new except it runs slightly better, and on some games it looks more shit. Like, come on. It's not even a good pro console. Like, jeez. And it's overpriced as well.
Oh god, yeah.
So, I mean, just wait for the PS6. Like,
Like I don't
I
know.
mean,
I just
I
wish.
say this as if I own it, but I don't own it. I have to say, like, it's just from looking online what the people have said.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
Digital Foundry did advanced testing really on certain games and multiple stuff. They're very good at that, so I would trust their words.
Yeah, like most people that I've seen review it, right? They say they like it, but they basically tell people like just don't buy this unless you have like disposable income because yeah, it's not worth the investment. It's only if you just want to play it at the peak possible that you can, then it's go ahead and
And
get it. But
even then, buy a PC.
exactly, yeah, you might as well at that point. But yeah, like I don't know if you felt
Yeah,
the same way, but like with the PS5 launched and like the new Xbox launched and all that, like I mean, like I didn't get that same excitement as I would have, in the 360 or the PS3 or the PS4 era. I don't know. I feel like they just kind of lost that way when it came to consoles about making them like the end all be all. Like you need to have
it's
this.
you have to think back though. The announcements were weird as well because when we before they would show off games, right, that would work on these consoles. So you would see the big giant leap. But if I remember correctly, when the PS5 got announced, like there weren't really do games announced with it at the time,
Yeah,
if I'm not wrong. Because I remember being like, well, I mean, it's cool, but I'm waiting for like interesting games before I buy it. And it took a while before like there was something that made me want to buy it, right?
very true. Yeah, I felt both systems really just kind of like it's almost like they were just trying to get the console out and then forgot about all the hype to go along with it.
Yeah, if you take example when Xbox first came on the scene and they showed off Halo like for the first time, it was like revolutionary to see. It looked awesome. Like people would tear each other apart just to get an Xbox and play Halo, right?
Yep. So true. Yeah.
They sort of forgot that the games make the consoles.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Um like I said, the one thing, like my biggest pet peeve is when they'll announce, let's say they have one good game, right? Like let's say it's Horizon or whatever at the time. I can't remember what PlayStation 5 announced with, and then Xbox had whatever it did. And then they'll like throw in like sports games, like racing and all that. They'll be like, yeah, and you can also play Horizon, or like look how good it looks, or you can play Motorsport. Man, look at the wheels and the traction. It's just like this is not selling it to anybody. I don't know anyone who's bought a console for a fucking racing game. Like,
Oh, there's a lot of more that do though. Like not for nothing that every year they keep churning out these games because they sell, right?
yeah, they
So
do.
it doesn't interest you and me for sure, but there's a wide range of people that it interests, just like Call of Duty, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just hard to imagine someone looks at that and they go, you know what? I'm gonna pay $600. I'm gonna buy that new console just as I can play that $100 game. Like,
I agree. I mean, for me, it's hard to imagine like the newest Call of Duty being in any categories
yeah,
of the Game Awards, and yet here it is.
yeah, no, no, same here. I was shocked to see that one listed. I'll be more shocked if it wins.
I was I was more shocked to see a DLC instead of a game, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That one's still a bummer. Um, and then yeah, I guess the last guy in the group here is Xbox. Um, I mean, as rude as it's gonna sound, I feel like Xbox has no surprises. It's pretty straightforward what their direction is now. Um, and like you said, I mean, you nailed it, JW. Everyone else, including myself, was ranting and raving about how great that showcase was at the time, and how this was like Xbox, finally making a comeback. But it was just another example of just what a disappointment they are constantly, as far as delays go. And like Fable, like I have heard so many different takes on where Fable is going. Like now, I think the newest thing I heard is that it's gonna have like a Witcher style combat to it. It's like, fuck, this game is just gonna be shit by the time it comes out. Like
oh,
there's
for sure, especially if it has Witcher combat, because the combat is wasn't that great in Witcher.
Yeah, like I mean,
Like that's archaic design. Like what was great with Witcher was the writing and the quest settings, not the combat.
it's so frustrating because they have so many game studios, and it's like, how do you still not know what gamers want? Like, it's like I just don't get it. Like,
Look, it's the mystery, the incredible mystery behind Microsoft of having so much money, so much everything, and yet failing at everything.
yes, like oh my god.
Like if computers didn't run on Windows, I don't know what they would do.
Like even something as simple as that Microsoft Flight Simulator, right? Like the fact that that still hasn't even come out yet, it's like, come on, guys! Like, how hard is it to make that game? Like, I'm not even hyped
It
for it.
hasn't?
No, it's still in the
I
works.
thought it did.
I'm pretty sure it's still in the works because I swear it was supposed to launch the same time as Indiana Jones, like within like a 2 week difference. Here, I'll just do a quick fact check to make sure I'm not lying.
Yeah, because they have a churning content problem, Xbox. Because you see the thing with the like PlayStation and all these other companies, they can permit themselves to be slower with content because they can it's the usual game release. Oh, these people are interested in these games and so we're putting everything on these games and taking our time, whatever. But the thing with Xbox is that they have their Game Pass software. Their thing is not the game, but the Game Pass. So they need a bunch of content to fill that library to attract people, right? So it's not about selling the game, but about selling the platform, the Xbox ecosystem, right?
Yeah, I was right. It's actually today. Today was the official launch day, and you know what the very first article is? Um,
What?
Both eager early players are struggling to actually play the game. Long loading times and crashes as a software of the software rather than the aircraft, and causing frustration among players waiting to get their first glimpse of the revamped simulator. So it launched today, and it already has issues. Oh shit!
My main problem with AAA right now is that they release stuff in like terrible conditions. Like most of the games, not all of them, but most of them. Like it's been getting worse and worse, I find.
Well, even oh, what's that other one? I was really excited for it, and now again, right? Like I'm hearing more comments. South of Midnight, that one too. Like it looked kind of interesting. I was like, okay, you know, like this looks like something I want to try out. And already on a few podcasts and a few like content creators, I'm hearing that there were what's that company? Um, the one that does like ethical stuff or not ethical diversity. Mouse. Oh, what's his name now? Iron Mouse?
Indie Mouse?
Indie Mouse? I can't
I
remember.
don't know. I follow Indie Mouse, so but I don't think that's him you're talking
No, no,
about.
no, no. It's one of the companies that helps like video game developers and all that have like better diversity and stuff like that. Oh fuck, I can't remember the name of them now. I swear it had something to do with mouse.
I don't know.
But anyway, they got involved with
I don't know.
this.
There are a bunch of them. Yeah.
Yeah, they got involved with this game too. So it's like, okay, like why? Like what, like the game didn't seem like it had anything woke culture needed. So I don't really understand why they would have got involved with it.
Probably so you can choose what type of character you want to be to drive the plane,
Maybe.
or to have to have like designated sections for every gender and I don't know what,
But
to make
yeah.
sure that every seat is well represented.
But yeah, you know, like this, I mean, like just
I don't know.
all these games that got announced right at the Xbox showcase, and now like now that we're getting close to, like I just mentioned with Indiana Jones, right? That was another great example. It's just now as we get closer to their release dates, that hype, that excitement is starting to die out, and the reality is setting in of what this game is actually going to be.
That's what pisses me off with like every Xbox showcase, because everybody like comes on themselves when the Xbox showcase comes in, and
So true.
nobody like thinks straight. They're like, "Oh my god, it's best, so much better than the PlayStation one." Like, ew. And then like none of it happens, and then they're like, "Well, I don't know, where are my games?" Then the next Xbox showcase come in, and it's all over again. Like if they have brain damage, like they don't remember. And meanwhile, like PlayStation presents a bunch of stuff, and most of them occurs within the next couple of years, right? Like Phantom Blade Zero is like the next big game I'm waiting on for the PS5, which is supposed to come out like probably next year or maybe the year after that, like quite close, right?
Yep.
So, and like they've announced a bunch of others, but that game when they first announced it didn't look real. It looked like insane, and it's coming soon. So, I mean, it remains to be seen, of course. But like they have a very good track record of following. I find what they've announced with what they'll publish, right?
I was doing a quick little peek on here just to see if there was any other big games. The other one I forgot about was Avowed. Avowed 2 apparently isn't looking so hot now. Now that it's
Well, I
getting.
mean, you've seen the trailers, you've seen the videos. Like as much as I'm a big fan of Obsidian,
Yep.
um, it's not looking great.
No, it's supposed to almost be close to Veil Guards, whatchamacallit.
Oh,
character design, like that. I don't know what you want to call it. I call it like the Fortnite treatment. But yeah, it's gonna be like that
Oh,
kind of style.
oh, oh,
Which pisses everyone off,
this,
right? Because I remember when the first trailer came out, it didn't look like that. So I'm wondering why they would have
oh,
changed it.
this hurts me so much. Why? Oh,
Yeah, there was that one. State of Decay 3. There's been no talk about that now since that announcement. Not like I was super excited about it, but still, I know some people probably were.
I keep forgetting State of Decay 3 was a thing. It is supposed to be a thing.
Or Doom the Dark Ages. Like not really much is more said about that.
Oh
Uh
yeah, but that for sure will I think probably come in next year. That's a no-brainer, that one.
yeah, and the Gears of War E-Day. That one basically sounds like it's scheduled for the next Xbox launch. So again, like you're right, like they showed us a game that they're gonna be probably
Are
releasing.
you sure about that?
I'm pretty sure that seems to be the heavy focus on it right now that I've been hearing.
I'm not so sure about that.
Oh, when do you think it's gonna come out?
I think it's coming out next year.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'd be
Or
down.
maybe max the year after, but no, I think it will be on the same generation. I don't think it's coming for the next Xbox. If anything, I don't think there will be a next Xbox with exclusive games that will launch on it to sell you the console. Like their
Yeah,
next Xbox will probably be a revamped Steam Deck with Windows on it, and you can play pretty much any game that you could on a normal Steam Deck or like a PC or something.
well, what was it? I think it was just last week they launched that trailer of Xbox Play Anywhere now, where it's like if you
Yep,
have a phone, you can play it, right? And like we said, we,
yep.
we already knew the handheld is going to be coming out soon too, for Xbox, whether it's next year or the year
Well, it's
after.
like they say they're not done with hardware. What they mean is they're done with consoles, but they're not done making portable hardwares, right? They will make
Exactly.
more stuff because they need to keep Game Pass alive or have reason to have Game Pass, right? So they won't give you a console where you're stuck at the TV. They'll give you something where you can use Game Pass anywhere.
Yeah, and I I don't think it'll happen next year, but well, no, I think it'd be too big of a shock for Xbox fans. I don't think they'll do it next year, but they'll definitely do it probably the year after, where like Halo and all the big titles finally make their way to PlayStation, because it's already being talked about, just
I
just
know,
just
and
casually, but
I would have to say I will fall on my ass the day that Halo comes on PlayStation. Like that will be the most insane thing I think I've seen in a while in gaming.
right? I know, me too. Like I'm not like a
But
diehard.
I think it makes sense though, because it's true that Xbox are now they don't care about exclusives per se. They care about being on every platform.
Yeah, yeah, Phil's big like heart to his gamers. I just want gamers to play wherever they want to. It's like, shut up.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. No.
Fucking release a game then, buddy.
Uh, Phil Spencer is a crafty dude. Like he's a wolf in a sheep's clothing, really.
Oh yeah.
Like he likes to pretend like, oh, I'm just like you guys, and I yes, I know we fucked up, but I'm going to do this and that, and promise a bunch of stuff that doesn't really going to happen. Then people forget, and then they. But yeah, no, he's very good at talking. Uh,
He is. He's
Now
so
it sounds
good.
bad the way I say it, but it's true. He's very good at talking. He's charismatic. The way he portrays, the way he translates information to the players, gamers alike, and
It's so true though. Like,
which PlayStation doesn't have.
yeah, yeah, they don't have anyone like that.
No, they just have business people currently. I mean, fuck. The last guy that we had was what was his stupid name? He
Oh,
was so terrible too.
yeah.
You know who I'm talking
I know who
about?
you're talking about. Yeah, yeah. I just can't think of the name. I was just laughing because for the Super Show, right? They're usually pretty good, right? Like they don't fall for this shit. But I even remember when Phil had his first like heart to heart, even like Jamie and all that, they were like, yeah, I felt like it was a good message. I felt like he was good. I was like, damn it, you guys, don't fall for that shit.
I know, I know.
Don't get soft on us now. Pizza, is that you, buddy?
It is, but he has no microphone, or he's on mute.
Um, I didn't know. Oh, sorry. You on pizza? He might be doing his second job too, so it might be hard for a connection. The only one left on the list that really worries me, and I hope it's going to turn out okay still, is Perfect Dark. That is the last
Oh,
big title.
oh, I think Perfect Dark is not coming next year. I think it's
Oh,
miles
really?
away. I do. I think it's at least 2026, if not later.
Oh, that hurts. Oh, man.
That's what I think. Like, I'm more sure that the new Gears of War prequel will arrive in 2025 than I am of Perfect Dark seeing the day of light anytime soon.
Damn. I mean, yeah. I can see it too, because you're right. Like, since that one showcase, we haven't heard much talk about it since then. Like,
No.
if they had something, they would have advertised it by now.
Yep.
Oh, there you are. You on
I
pizza?
think we're good. Yeah, I
Hey,
am. I'm good now.
how's it going, pizza?
It's good, man. Just been working and doing some gaming, but it's been pretty good though, man. It's been pretty good.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute since you've been on, my friend. Is there any games you played like the last little bit that you wanted to shout out, or anything special you want to bring up?
Honestly, I've been playing Diablo the most. Diablo and Division. That's really my two games I've been playing more just because of the fact that I have finally got my Xbox hooked up to my capture card, so I've been able to play the games on my monitor. So yeah, I've been playing Division 2 probably, well, really that game and Diablo 4, like I can say alternatively, but I guess like back to back. Those are my two big games. Um, and I guess Crash, Crash Bandicoot, but really just those three have been my main I guess daily games this past 2 weeks.
Is your character in Diablo 4 a sorcerer, perhaps?
Oh no, it's not. I
Darn.
tried it. I couldn't. It was I'm more mine is my is a barbarian. I couldn't do a sorcerer. I couldn't do druid either or archer. I've been doing I guess more melee based combat lately, and that's just I'm more used to that. I prefer it a lot more now. So yeah, I've been playing barbarian. Right now I'm on my second character leveling it up because the new season started, so had to do a whole new, pretty much a whole new character wipe. But so far though, yeah, I've been doing that, been going off on it, and really, I think after we get off this, I'm gonna go and play some more of it.
Nice. Yeah, JW, were pretty much praising it to the heavens there, as far as like
Yeah,
characters.
we've been playing every week, like every Monday, for hours, and like we can't stop playing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a really good game. I mean, I took a break from it at first. I think like I bought the game when it launched, and I played that for a few days, and then I just got burnt out because I was trying to get the horse, and that took that. I think that part of the story takes probably the longest, and then once I got the horse, everything just like became easier to do. I took a break. I got burnt out. I came back to the game when I got on Game Pass, and then yeah, I've just been playing it pretty much on and off. But yeah, you're right. It is addictive. I mean, it's a I haven't explored all the maps because it's a big game. I mean, even doing the season, like the season events, like I can't really do them all because they're hard. Like they are hard to do, so it keeps me busy.
I was curious. So you're playing as the barbarian. Like I said, JWB have like talked about some of the skills that the sorcerer has, right? That we really got invested in, or we want to see further how they go. How is the barbarian though? Like how is the skill set in that? Like, is there anything really impressive you found, or are you just kind of going with the flow right now?
Yeah, I kind of just, pretty much just rock with Barbarian so far. As far as like skills go, I mean, I don't really use every skill in the tree. Just I've tried some of them and they're just not. I I can't say that they're like super impressive, but I use the skills that are focused purely on getting as many kills in one button as possible. So
Okay.
I maxed out probably three skills that I use like back to back to back, and they're great. I do wish that there was a way to kind of figure out how, I guess, how effective my skills are. They tell me the percentages and all that kind of stuff, but like I play on hard. I don't play on medium just because like I want to be able to get more XP.
Yep.
So when I'm playing on hard, and I guess, well, let me rephrase that. On medium, I can see where the numbers kind of play into it, and I can see the enemies dropping like flies, which is cool and all. But with hard mode, it's like you can't even tell because sometimes when I stack my abilities and I use it on one person, I might be lucky if I get halfway through their health and then they drop. But sometimes I might do that and maybe a quarter of their health is gone. Meanwhile, they're spamming the same old attack and I'm dying in like three hits.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some
Um,
bad guys out there that are just ridiculous in that game.
am I right to say though that the barbarian compared to the other classes, you have to almost combo your skills, right? Where it has a bunch of like singular skills, but you have to find like the right sort of combination of those skills to chain to make it like super viable and powerful. No.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's actually, yeah, that's pretty much it though, because if you try to use one skill like again and again, like it can be effective, but you really do have to have a full arsenal. Because because everything is so up close and personal that the only way you could clear out a whole bunch of enemies at once is if you play on the easiest difficulty or if you have like these legendary weapons. And even then, like when you go to hard mode, when you go to what's it? I forgot that. I think it's expert. Like none of that matters because your legendary weapon. I don't know if they do it on purpose or what, but I have a legendary crew, like I guess a club pretty much. And when I use that on the normal enemies, sometimes it's as if it's like a random RNG nerf where I hit them with a stacked upheaval and they don't die. And then that same enemy that's on this last leg, he can hit me twice and I'm down to half health. I'm talking like the bare basic skeleton enemy, no armor, has a sword in his hand, and he's just knocking me down.
Oh wow.
So yeah, you have to pretty much combo your attacks. And really though, it's unfortunate that you don't get the opportunity to do a combo repeatedly. Like I guess on the other for example, expert. I was doing expert for like maybe one or two missions, and I dropped it down because as soon as I got out to the I guess like to the starting area where I guess like where the church is, that area, like those enemies, they kill you in probably two hits, maybe three. And I'm using these combos back to back, but you can't just stay in their face. You got to go in, do a combo, step back, heal, do a combo, and just rinse and repeat. So, it gets tedious.
Yeah, because the barbarian, contrary to the sorcerer, doesn't have mana. It's sort of like with every hit generates wrath. So you start off with like zero wrath. So you need to build up at
Oh,
every battle so you can do skills. Like you can't have a full amount of wrath.
Yeah. And so,
damn, that's
I mean,
challenging.
you know, yeah, and there's a perk you can get though where when you hit someone, like it builds up. Like I don't know how much it does, but I think like 2 hits you get a full meter. But yeah, it definitely sucks because when the skills the skills take up a lot of mana. Even the most weakest skill takes up a good chunk of all your energy. And so it's like, you have to go and really almost kind of decide how you're going to attack these people. Because if you go in and you just say, face to face fighting them, you might, well, not even you might, you will always end up wasting all your energy on one enemy. And next thing you know, you're surrounded by a whole bunch of them. And you're doing nothing but spamming the health button back to back to back.
Because I know the reason why they've made the barbarian harder. Because in the third game in Diablo 3, like it was too easy. You had like that skill where you could just spin on yourself and it would just kill everyone on its way. So you would
Yeah,
see
yeah,
people like
yeah.
doing
Oh
nothing
yeah, the whirlwind.
and just yeah, spinning and killing everything. And so I think they made this change for that reason.
Maybe. It just, I mean, it seems, I mean, yeah, it could be. I just know that, anything above normal it's not, I mean, it's not unplayable. You can definitely make it work because the, the XP you gain from knocking down enemies is good. Like, you, how can I phrase it? You feel a lot more, you feel the impact, you feel the progression when you play on hard mode. Like when you're playing on normal, you don't feel it because it takes so long to farm enemies
Yeah.
going back and forth between regions. But on hard and expert, like you can see that bar fill up instantly. But the downside is that, I mean, you'll pretty much die if you don't know what you're doing when you get to the next section. And I mean, I don't use the whirlwind ability. Like, I mean, I could see maybe it is a case that they nerfed that one ability because when I use it, nothing ever happens. Like I'm spinning around and I'm not making a dent in
Yeah, no,
anybody's
it's
arm.
in Diablo 4 it's different. Yeah, because in Diablo 3 you could generate wrath I think for every hit, even your skills,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, or depending of the skills. So it meant that every hit the whirlwind did generated wrath, so you could infinitely just turn and kill. But
Yeah,
yeah, they've changed that with 4.
it was so broken in Diablo 3.
Oh, see, I never used Barbarian in Diablo 3. I used the monk, and
Oh yeah.
that was for me. That was a little bit easier to use just because of the fact that you know I could max out on skills and I can actually clear out enemies. But I mean, of course, I was playing on medium though. I was not playing on hard because, you had to go and like complete certain parts of the story to do it, and I didn't get that far. I want to, but I just could not. But yeah, I mean, I can see that. Well, I can't say I can see why because I think that it would benefit people if they made it to where using your abilities does generate, um, more energy. Because there are some times where I feel as though I'm getting cheated, where I use one ability and I've used up half my meter. Now I have to go and pretty much aggro a whole bunch of different groups just to get something. And it's like, that's a gamble. It is a gamble, especially on the seasons with the seasonal events, because 9 times out of 10, you're gonna fight a legendary, or not legendary, but you're gonna fight like these named enemies. Like, oh, this, he's an Ice King or Spider Queen, and it's like almost every other enemy is like a named enemy. So they have all these different um different effects, and I feel as though going into something like that, there needs to be a way to make playing a barbarian more, I guess, more not appealing. That's not the word, but make
More
it to where people
accessible,
want to play it. Yes, there you go. Yeah, accessible. So I think
so
that
easier. Yeah,
now
okay.
it could be different for the story mode, but for the events though, yeah, they definitely go overboard with naming the enemies because yeah, every other person you meet will be a named lieutenant, guard, whatever,
Yeah.
and they just do insane amount of damage. They have all these effects stacked up against you, and it's like, yeah, you're definitely going in blind and unlucky.
Yeah, it definitely sounds more challenging being a barbarian in that game. Like almost like you're handicapped playing it, you know what I mean? Compared to the other
So
ones.
if Blizzard, or let's say they're making a next expansion, a new one, what would be class you would want to be in them bring in?
Well,
Oh.
I mean, other than the barbarian, that's pretty much it. Cause like as far as ranged hero, or I guess ranged characters go, like I think that Diablo has done a better job with giving them more. I guess like giving them more popularity. I know that with the sorcerer, like they've been giving sorcerers all different types of buffs, giving them way more in terms of cosmetics and skills and accessibility.
Oh yeah, I never play Sorcerer, and I that's what I'm playing right now.
Yeah, it's definitely it's not I can't say it's easier to play it, but I think that Blizzard they made playing that class feel you know like it's fun because I mean who wants to play as a person shooting projectiles from far away like that? Just to me that doesn't sound appealing, but they made it work. They made it more accessible. They made it more entertaining to use. Because I
Yeah.
know that, and with Diablo 3, like, I mean, who wants to use a sorcerer? There's no, it just, it doesn't scream like this is the class I want to do. So they did more with it. There was another one I forgot. I guess the archer. I mean, they made the archer more useful. I mean, they were useful. They were useful in Diablo 3. They were definitely good, but they made them feel a lot more usable now. And then they made they give the druid, that I think that if they make a new Diablo expansion, well, I guess they can't take it away, but if they decide to make a new Diablo game, I think that they should take out the druid, take that out, and replace it with either the monk, replace it with a paladin, something like that, or kind of beef up the other classes. Because I think that those three, the sorcerer, archer, and barbarian, like those are very good picks to use, but they're not fleshed out enough yet.
What about you, Mindful?
Actually, till Pizza mentioned it, I totally forgot about it. But Paladin was an amazing class. I would love to see that one come back again.
Yeah, that's mine as well. That's mine as well. Like I
Yeah,
was thinking back, like they brought all the cool classes from Diablo 2, so meaning, the druid, the necromancer,
yeah,
all of those, but the paladin is missing,
yeah,
and that would be cool to have a
Yeah,
similar class to that.
yeah. That was a good class, actually.
yeah. I don't know if they were making the druid to kind of like to if they're making it to, I guess, not replace a paladin, but make it more like a two-in-one thing. But I don't think it works out. I think that the skill set that the paladin has, I mean, sorry, that the druid has, I don't think that it benefits the player having a protector and a companion who aggroes at the same time. It just I don't think it blends well. I think that if you're going to do a paladin like combo kind of thing, either make it with the really with a barbarian. Like that's the best thing you could do, because at least then like you have a reason to go in there and use all these crowd control skills while also using something like a shield, using more protector based skills. So that could be why they decided to take him out of the game. But yeah, I think that they should put him back in as his own class and give him all the skills that matches him. Because I mean, even the not the hero, Inarius, like he's they could make him up. I guess he probably is a paladin, and I think that if they make a new Diablo game or expansion, they should put him or a class similar to him in the game. And now you have Paladin. Now you have someone who actually fits that skill set.
Yeah, and I was thinking too. You said about the sorcerer, and you're right. Diablo 3, I think they really dialed that one back quite a bit. But I think the
Well,
reason,
yeah, because you had the witch doctor.
yeah, um, I feel like maybe that's why I feel more invested now with 4, because 4 does remind me a lot of Diablo 2 Sorcerer. Like obviously 4 expand a lot on skills and combinations and all that, but I remember in 2 like it was fun being the sorcerer as well, because yeah, there were a lot of skills that linked up well together. Um, yeah, yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Pizza. The sorcerer is a lot more entertaining this time to play as.
Well, I find so. Like, I wasn't a big fan of the sorcerer even back Diablo 2 days, but
Oh wow, really? I
like
like.
I'm having a blast with this one.
Yeah, I mean it. Like I think I made a character for I made a character for every class pretty much just to kind of test them out. The sorcerer wasn't bad, but I think that Blizzard needs to do a better job with like introducing the sorcerer, because when you're starting out and you have the basic spear, I'm gonna say spear, the spear blast, whatever, I don't even know what you call it.
Yeah, the sort of
It
wand with small blasts. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, like, I think the first mistake is giving him a wand. Like that's not even that doesn't even scream like, oh, this is hardcore. This is what I want to do. Like, you know, make it a staff, make it, some long object, make it your hands, make it a book. But like don't just make it look corny
that's
and then
true.
also make it feel. Because I mean you feel super weak in the beginning. I mean, like, I get that all characters are like kind of at the baseline zero. They ain't got nothing going on. But even the barbarian feels powerful in the base, like in the beginning, and then when you scale up, you feel when you scale up, they nerf your skills. With the sorcerer, it's you are basically bottom of the barrel, and then when you scale up, you get way more perks. They actually buff your skills. But yeah, I think that
yeah,
starting out, it just
that's what people have been saying with the necromancer. Like that, it's super cool at the beginning, but as you progress, the it sort of becomes really boring to play with.
Yeah, I can see why though. I mean, because as a necromancer, I think that the only skill that you'll be doing is resurrection,
Yeah,
and I mean
Yeah,
that is
corpses.
bad,
Yeah,
but I think it's like at that point in time, I think when I used that skill, I did not enjoy it because I felt as though it was somebody else playing the game for me,
yeah,
and I was just sitting there waiting for them to kind of tackle all these groups. And I was like, that's just not fun. Like I don't mind having help, but if I don't feel like I'm involved in the game, then I just will not do it.
sure.
So yeah, that skill was just, I can't say it was a bad one, but I think that I don't know if they wanted to lean onto the whole point of, look, the character, the player, he now has minions to do his job for him. He can sit back, but it's like I don't want to do that. I want to be able to like actually get in the fight and slay people. And if I have people around me tackling everyone else, then that's fine. Like that is a skill that they should definitely look into. Maybe kind of revamp it a little bit, make it more engaging, and that's really it. But yeah, the sorcerer, the necromancer definitely was one of those characters where I think that Blizzard just does not care about it because even in Diablo 3, like I mean, as a DLC character, it wasn't even popular. So it's like they could just kind of trash it and just put in anything else.
Yeah, that's true. Necromancer is kind of like a second thought in Diablo 3.
Yeah.
Um, I was gonna.
Well, yeah, it was. It was the expansion class.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they thought that it was going to be selling probably the best thing ever when people don't even. No, I don't think anybody wanted the sorcerer. Like, you could have given us any other class. Like for example, that new class. Like, I don't know what it is. The guy, the wildlife.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
I don't know the name either, but yeah, I know
yeah,
what you mean. The new
the
expansion class from
yeah,
Diablo 4.
I guess the druid with no magic,
Spiritborn.
pretty much.
yeah,
Oh, there we
that's what
go.
it is.
Yeah.
Spiritborn.
So really, it's a second druid. I don't. That could have been I mean, I don't know. It could be good, but judging from the trailer of the thing, the gameplay of it, I'm not feeling it. I am not feeling that new character. I just think that it's like you made a necromancer and a druid.
I was gonna ask you.
Well, I know.
Oh, sorry, Jebby, go
Sorry, I
ahead.
was just gonna say I've been talking to a couple of streamers that stream Diablo 4, and they seem to say that the Spiritborn is like super OP compared to the other classes, because of all the various ways that you can sort of jump around and attack super fast.
I mean, that makes sense too, right? Because it's the newest class, so of course it's gonna be a little bit more
Yeah.
overpowered right now until they I guess.
So you buy it.
Yeah, exactly. Then we'll nerf it on you,
So
suckers.
yeah, so now it's pay to win, which I mean, I think that we already saw. I mean, we already knew it's gonna be pay to win. Like when they started putting legendary weapons in the shop, it was already a game system. But now
Well,
you
I
have a
mean,
whole.
it's not PvP, like, so I really don't mind it. Like, I haven't. I've been liking actually how they've been managing the shop. Like, they don't constantly spam me with like ads or with anything to tell me to go visit the shop or anything. It's just
Yeah.
a tab there, and like I can never go touch it, and it's fine. And like it's not as bad as, let's say, Rainbow Six Siege, where every time there's a new character, like you can unlock it like with with in-game money, sure, but of course the people that pay cash will get it first. So what they do is they release it with super in a super OP way. The character is super OP and unbalanced. So everybody buys it, then they balance it, and then the character becomes shit, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't touched Siege in a long time, and I mean, I just don't. I don't even play that game for personal reasons. But yeah, I know. I mean, even like in Call of Duty, like I mean, that's the same way where you start the game and the first thing you go to is the shop. Like they, they purposely put the cursor on the shop. And I'm like, well, like why? I mean, I haven't even played the game yet. I just want to see how the game plays. So that's definitely off-putting. I'm not a fan of when they do that, but I do know in Diablo 4 they haven't really made that a thing. I do. I mean, they made the shop. You're right though, Jay. They made the shop feel a lot better because now it's like, you go over there and just, you just browse. Like they're not saying you should go and buy this or here's a discount for you. Like it's just here's items in the shop. If you want it, you can buy it, and then you leave out. And they never, like they never try and rope you back in. They never try and mislead you. Because I know with Call of Duty, I think I don't know which one. I think it was either Modern Warfare 3. I think that was the one where when you go into the menu trying to, looking at the prices, it's like when you back out, they kind of put you in a different menu. You got to back out of that one, then you go to a different menu, and then it's like you're stuck in the shop pretty much.
I was going to ask you, Pizza. We were just talking about predictions for next year as far as gaming goes. Before we wrap everything up, did you have any predictions that you have for next year? As far as like, it could be what you think Xbox is going to do next year, or PlayStation, or Nintendo, or maybe you just have some hot takes on what you think gaming is going to look like in 2025.
Honestly, I don't even play. I haven't played any game that released this year. I just I don't have the tolerance for the games now. They're just kind of, they all suck pretty much. I mean, very few of them are good, but I think that the good games that are released like now, like Wukong and Space Marine, like those games, well, they released now. They didn't release back in January. So,
Yeah.
I'm definitely not really feeling like playing any game that released this year. I mean, I'll definitely pick up Space Marine 2 and I'll pick up Stalker, but I'm not gonna play them. I'll just keep it around and then, once I finish playing all the games from the PS2, I still have a whole list of games to play from there. Once I do that, then I'll step into kind of the more modern games. But yeah, next year is not going to be good. I can already tell. It's gonna be a lame year. It's gonna be the same old stuff. And I mean, I'm okay with that because I have been looking at getting back into emulation. So, there are plenty of games that I have not touched. I haven't touched any games on the GameCube, the N64, the Xbox 360. Not like there are so many games that I haven't even played yet, even on PS4. So I'm gonna just do that next year. If a game comes out that gets my attention, or maybe a game goes from, PS5 to PC, like I don't know what games, I don't maybe like Stellar Blade, like when that game comes to PC, I'll definitely get that. But yeah, my my prediction for next year is not going to be too good. I've just seen too many patterns, so it's not for me.
Oh, good for you, man! Like that's something I always wanted. Well, I mean, I've kind of done a little bit this year, going back to old retro games, trying to finish them up. But yeah, you're absolutely correct. There's so many games that, like, I mean, even talking to you guys, right? Like, you'll mention a thing, and I'll be like, yeah, I never tried Metal Gear, or I never tried Splinter Cell, or whatever it is, right? And you'll be like, oh, you gotta try it, man! You missed out
Oh,
on
you
the.
don't like stealth games though?
No, I know, but I'm just like rattling off games, that I haven't played.
Then yeah, but then you shouldn't play them.
Well, still, it's again, it's the experience, right? Like, if someone says it's worthwhile to give it a playthrough, or like you were saying with Conquer, I never beat Conquer, right? So going through that right now has been like a really interesting journey.
Yeah, but Conquer is great. Like you don't need any skill. You don't need to like stealth game or anything. It's just great. Period. No matter like what kind of player you are.
That's true. That's very true.
Because
Um,
even if you don't like platformers, it's so funny that you'll want to continue anyways.
or here a great example is Resident Evil 4, right? Not finishing that one and now going back to it this year. Yeah, just yeah. No, I totally get it, Pizza. I've been kind of doing a little bit of that too, going back to some older games.
Yeah, I mean it seems like that's probably the best thing that most people are going to do anyways, because I mean, like there are so many games a lot of games came out this year that we never even heard of, and they just fell to the wayside because, like when you have a game like um Concord, when you have a game like Concord coming out, Dragon Age coming out,
Yeah.
and yeah, like you don't really hear about anything else except for those games. Like you go to Twitter, you look up gaming, and you will see the same games in rotation If it's not Wukong, it's Concord. If it's not Concord, it's Space Marine. If it's not Space Marine, it's Stellar Blade, and it's kind of just that whole circle jerk. So every other game you want to find, you won't find it. You have to go and type in indie games. You got to go and type in small games. You got to find, well, I guess it's a niche thing, pretty much. I get that, but you have to go out of your way to find the good games nowadays. And because of that, like so many things are just coming out that nobody's gonna remember them until I guess people had enough of playing these garbage games, which I'm surprised that no one has said no. People are still saying the same old, oh, I'll take this. Oh, it's on Game Pass. It's not a bad game. Like they're making excuses now.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, no, it's been insane for Dragon Age Veilguard how much copium, like how much people are
Oh yeah.
like the ones that they played it, how much they're excusing it. Well, the ones that they played it and liked it in brackets.
Yeah.
Like
They all focus
it's
on
so
combat,
weird.
eh? Like it's always about combat, how great combat is. It's like, okay, what about the rest of the game? Like
Well, not just combat. Like I've seen people say, "Oh yeah, no, the writing is not that bad." What do you mean? What do you mean? Like I've
yeah,
listened to the cutscene. What are you on about? Let's
I don't.
compare it to good writing and see the difference. Like,
it is
oh my
true though,
god,
like what you're
no,
saying, Pizza, because like JW, you're a great example. Like you brought up some really cool games last podcast about like I Am Your Beast, right? And then the
right?
previous
That was
podcasts
cool.
you brought up Flintlock. Like there were some interesting games that you've talked about this year. And yeah, you'll never see them really talked about on Twitter. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I also it doesn't help that PlayStation and Xbox and Nintendo like they don't push these smaller games nowadays. What I mean, and I guess they don't have to because I mean, you got Indiana Jones coming out in I guess well I don't know when, but you got that coming out. You got Star Wars 2 coming out.
Yep.
You have games from Xbox coming out, and then you have PlayStation just talking about buying a new console. So
Well, I
like.
sort of have to agree with this because the games that you mentioned, not I Am Your Beast, but Flintlock and what was the other one? That you mentioned, Flintlock and
Oh, I said Flintlock and I Am Your Beast. That was...
oh, I thought there was another one. There was Flintlock. There's Gory. There's the
Oh
cuddly
yeah,
Carnage
Gory,
Cat.
yeah.
There's like a bunch of indie games, and I've all known these games through the PlayStation Store. Actually, like there's like a demo section, and I look at it like
Oh.
every week, and that's how I know the indie games. Otherwise, I'm not really searching for it, or I sometimes see it pass on Steam, but. But you're right in the sense that they're not marketing these games,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I
that's what.
had
Yeah,
to
yeah,
go
they're
into
not.
the demo section,
Yeah,
Exactly,
but
yeah.
they're not.
it's still there.
Figured out. Oh yeah, no, definitely. And like that's I used to go in the demo section on Xbox and kind of find games, but it's just there are so many demos for so many games, and then of course, like I don't know if it's just me, but there are times where I'll keep scrolling down, and I don't know if the thing refreshes or what, but like I'm seeing duplicates of the same game, so it's like you know what, I'm good. So I definitely try
Uh,
to check it out every now and then, but yeah, I
Duplicates,
do.
or you see like standard and deluxe edition.
Yeah, I think it could be both of them, but there are some times where you might see a demo and then it's like you're gonna see the same game, like the same demo, but it's because some of them are like, they're just regular old Xbox One and then this Xbox Series X. So they're
Oh,
not
right,
next to
right.
each other. But I don't know.
Oh yeah.
It's a mess. It's a mess on the store where, it's like, I mean, how is it that it's a mess? It is a Windows-based thing. Like you would think that a Windows-based product would be more efficient with
No,
finding
we
things.
talked about
Yeah.
this earlier in the podcast about how it's incredible how they have everything to succeed, but they don't. Like they can't make it right, even though they have everything to make it
They
right.
can, and I mean, I don't even know. Like, even with my PC, like sometimes when I'm trying to boot it up, Windows will start having a panic attack and then shut down. I'm like, are you serious?
What?
And so
It
it's
sounds
like,
like
yeah,
a
I'm not
virus.
even. Oh no, it's just sometimes it just does that. Windows, especially Windows 11, it is a mess of an OS. When it works, it works amazing, and when it doesn't work, it's the worst thing ever. And I'm like, it's like sometimes you just want to say, you know what, I'm turning it off, not touching the computer. I don't need to anyways, and you just walk away.
That's too
So it's like,
funny.
yeah, you would think that they would be able to fix these problems, but even the most basic things they just cannot do right. And I mean, they're lucky that I can't I can't afford Apple. Actually, no, they're lucky I don't really vibe with Apple too much. I'm not a fan of that. So, I'm staying with them until I get into maybe the Linux stuff, and then maybe I'll switch. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things where they have all this money. Like, they're getting they have my money for Xbox for the Game Pass. So clearly they can make something work.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see that in the next year if they actually release a lot of those games that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. I mean I will definitely look into playing some of these games, but it 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 really depends on my mood because I think that, once I get done playing a good chunk of my older games and I go like to the more modern stuff, it's like one of those things where it's a gamble because even though, you know, I don't think that Stalker will have any pronouns in it. I don't think
No,
any Indiana Jones
no.
will talk about racism. But it's like, I don't wanna be too optimistic because I mean, there are some games like Wukong and Space Marine where it was just pretty much you go in there, you play the game, and you beat the game, and you're done. There is no thank you for being tolerant. There is no what about this. You play the game and you're done. So there's definitely there are some good things here and there, but yeah, nowadays it is tough. It is tough to find out what game was going to be good. So I mean, you look at Dragon Age. I mean, although I don't follow the game, I don't really care about that series. But I'm sure that people want a new game, and then so, oh, Yelgar, sounds pretty cool. The promo looks amazing, and then of course people saw the cutscenes and they just said, "Nah, I wasted my time."
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. It's sad when you can't trust companies you followed with most of your life, right, for gaming.
and it makes me just more scared for the next Mass Effect.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Oh yeah, yeah. I saw, I don't know, it was on a Twitter or a tweet about how the guy who was like, I guess, who is also developing the game, like, had a meltdown about how he hates guns and all that stuff. I'm like, so why are you making a game
Oh my
where
Oh yeah,
god.
that's the guy
uh,
that is part of the Halo team.
there, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So I was like, so
Yeah, yeah,
why
that's
are you playing a shooting
343.
game and you hate, like, that makes no sense. I mean, luckily luckily Infinite is not a bad. It's not a bad game. It's fun. Like, I think at times it does kind of get stale, but it's a fun game. It was made by people who had a brain. So yeah, who knows how it's gonna look for the next Halo game
I mean,
or
it
Mass
only
Effect.
took them like 10, 15 years to get it. They made Halo 4 and 5 before, which were terrible.
Yeah, so they
And
definitely.
Halo Infinite released with no content. Like, it didn't have co-op, it didn't have Forge, it didn't have any of the modes that all the other Halos released with. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy how it's like, I mean, like, how do you not have the modes that made Halo 2? Like, that makes no, like, how do you go backwards?
Yeah, like
Yes.
how do you not have co-op? Like it blew my mind. Like, oh.
Yeah, so I mean that was definitely it was definitely weird, now. Of course, when the game launched, most of my friends, they were playing Call of Duty or they had a Switch. So it's like, I was okay not having co-op. But not having Forge is weird because it's like, I mean, like, how are you not going to have Forge? Because like, I mean, looking back at, I think it was either Halo 3, yeah, Halo 3, where you had all these cool creations like that. That's pretty cool. I played Halo 3 for a few minutes, played the custom maps. I enjoyed it, and you have this whole new game. You have a new system in place. You have all these pretty graphics, and you're not using them. You're just it's like you're you're making the game look good, but I mean, if it doesn't play good, then what's the point? I don't, I'm not buying Halo to stare at it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
very
mean,
true.
if Halo Infinite would have released with at least Forge or split screen co-op, like it would have been a day one for me. But
Yeah,
instead, they release multiplayer separate from like the single player, and then there's just the single player and not all the other things. All the other things will come out at some point during the next year. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know, and yeah, they're lucky that the game was playable and that it was actually, it was still usable. And like,
You're
like that's
lucky
the only
that the
good.
game was playable
Yeah,
as it should.
that's
Jeez.
that saved them from having a terrible. I mean, it wasn't really like the best thing ever, but that they at least got points for making it, another Halo game.
Well,
Well,
you
another
say this,
Halo
but
Light.
some people like could not progress this game because they would lose their save during the while playing the campaign.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I
it would
never
get
figured.
corrupted and they would lose everything. So that was a big thing I remember on release. Like I think it happened even to Jonesy on the Super Show, if I remember correctly.
yep, yeah, I did.
Insane.
Yeah. So we'll see about the new games. I don't think that I think that you know if they focus on the dialogue, then I think that will be okay because I mean like I don't I think that let's say Bioshock. I think that Mass Effect is one of those games where you can get away with not having the gunplay and all that stuff. Like that's that's filler. The main stuff is all about the dialogue, you making those connections, you talking to people. Like I think that if they focus on that and they can make that shine the most, then yeah, people will. I mean, they're gonna say, oh man, the gunplay is crap. It doesn't feel good. It feels kind of floaty, whatever. I mean, yeah, whatever. Go to the talking, like go to the thing that people want the most. And if you can do that, then hey, you might get some points off, but people will respect you way more for focusing on what made Mass Effect good, which was the story and the settings.
I agree.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I agree with you,
Yeah,
Pizza.
and plus, with Mass Effect also has they have um that they have the saving whatever, but you know they have the benefit of using pronouns because you can play as a male or a female.
Yep.
I mean, like they don't go hard on it, but you can at least you don't have to force it in there because it's already in there. You already have diversity. You already have women that want to be masculine. You have men that want to be feminine. Like you already have that stuff in Mass Effect. You don't have to touch it. All you
Well,
gotta do is just make the dialogue, and that's a home run. That's you could not mess up a game that was pretty much made.
you need good writing, and yeah, even Andromeda had like a bunch of I think there was an alien, like not just Andromeda actually. There's a bunch of aliens with all sorts of different uh, genders and stuff, and across all the Mass Effects really. And
Yeah,
so
and
it should be easy, but I'm not trusting because I don't think any of the old employees from BioWare are left there, and I think it shows.
I'm sure. Like there have been so many. I don't know if 2K has had. I think it's 2K that owns BioWare. I mean,
No, it's
not
EA.
yeah, there you go. I don't know 2K, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure that they have because I mean, I remember when I was playing Dead Space 3 and there was no sequel for it. Like they just said, well, we're done now. So the story pretty much ended on the cliffhanger. They had that. they had Army of Two, where that game just fell off a cliff. They just said no to it. And then, you have all these other games that just got canceled or all the developers got laid off. I'm like, why? You know, then they're pushing out these terrible games. Like I know that when Battlefield 5 came out, that game bombed. Then, they fired people in the studio for Battlefield and they tried making the Battle Royale game. That failed. They fired those developers. So it's been a lot of back and forth just letting people go. So yeah, I don't think they are. I think that those people, they probably did what Respawn did. They just said, you know what, we're done. We're gonna make our own company, and they made Apex Legend, and it took off. So that might be the next step. Is the people who made Mass Effect are gonna see the new game? Probably. Hopefully, it does not fail. Hopefully, the new game does just as good. I mean, I don't know if it can, but if it's able to at least, I I think its main priority is being better than Dragon Age. I think
Yeah.
that is the goal. If they can do that, then they have a chance of really getting somewhere. Because we're so far behind when it comes to innovating anything that isn't about, oh, I hurt their feelings is a slam dunk. Because like Wukong came out and like, I mean, it's not a bad game. People talk about it, but I think that if Wukong released, let's say the game released during like the golden age of gaming, like that game would not even be in the top 10. It'd be a good game, but it's like, you have all these other games that are like amazing. So that game would score lower. Space Marine would score lower. If Black Ops 6 was a slam dunk at release, if Halo Infinite was a slam dunk at release, if Starfield was a masterpiece, like all these games that we're nominating for Game of the Year, they wouldn't even be in the top five. But since we have games that suck, we're kind of saying, you know what? I mean, again, they're good. They're good games. And we're just saying, you know what though? Hey, Elden Ring DLC, like that. We got into although that is good DLC, so I can't knock it.
Well, I mean, it's
But
not worth a
in this,
game though. A game
yeah,
selection. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, I was gonna say how it's like even though it's good, like that is how far we have come to where we are looking at. You know what? It doesn't matter, man. It could be it could be a 2 hour walking sim. We will make a game of the year because that's all we have right now. That is our options. It's
yeah. What?
either
Why is the Alan Wake 2 DLC not there? Because it's a pretty cool expansion that expands the Control and Alan Wake's world. Like, why is it not there then?
yeah, I mean,
That's true.
like you're looking at, I mean, even like remakes, like, I mean, why not put other games on there? Like, I mean, I don't, I know that it would never win, but like, what about Horizon? Like that game came out, that's a remake. People like it. Oh, I mean, the people who are suckers like it. You got Final Fantasy that came out. You got Resident Evil, like Silent, like you have all these other games, but you know, I'm not sure why Elden Ring. I'm not sure why that game got nominated twice, but I mean, I'm not gonna lie. If it does win, I will be laughing. I will be laughing all day because it's like, how is it possible that a DLC, a game, you have to go and buy the original game to even play it. It's not standalone. It's not you can play this on its own whenever. You have to go and buy a copy of Elden Ring, play through that. I don't know how far into the game, but you have to play that game first, then do the DLC. I don't know how that is going to win Game of the Year, but that's where that's where we are right now. We are at the point where DLC is winning Game of the Year and not a game.
Yeah. It's just I just don't get it. I just don't get why. Um DLC, or like we said earlier, like remakes or remasters are being added as a game of the year. They really should have their own category. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw it. 'Cause I was on Twitter. I was looking at just looking at just random gaming stuff, and someone made a repost about whatever Jeff was saying about how DLC can be counted, and like the guy was saying, this is an excuse to have Elden Ring win again. And I'm like, well, it makes sense now because I saw it in the picture. It's like, okay, well, now we know. Now we know what's happening, and now we know why we didn't see Horizon because, as we all know, Horizon lost already to Elden Ring,
Yep.
and that game lost way more awards than any other Sony game, and that's like that's the poster child for the console now. Like that's everyone loves Alloy, but she can't win any awards.
Well, I mean, they have to stop like pitting Horizon versus like the games of the year, like Elden Ring. Like, you
Yeah.
know, if I remember, the first Horizon came out around the same time as Breath of the Wild. So,
Yeah, yeah,
so
and
then
then
the sequel was released at the same time as Elden Ring. Like, stop it! Like
you
these
know,
companies knows these release dates. They are allowed to push it, but they decided no, it's fine.
We'll win this
yeah, it
time.
reminds me like it reminds me of that donkey, the video that donkey made about how like how do you phrase it? I think he was saying that Horizon, yeah, he was saying that people remember Horizon as the game that lost to Breath of the Wild and to Elden Ring.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah,
That's
man,
true.
that's it's crazy. It's crazy how like you have every other game. Well, I mean, I guess you can't use Ragnarok because I didn't come out. I don't know. I don't know when Ragnarok came out. I guess maybe last year
I think it
or
was
so.
last year. Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, okay, yeah. But but like
Was it
games
the?
like yeah, games like Ragnarok, Spider-Man, um, what other game that Sony made that could be potential? I guess really just those two. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
those are games that, they could easily sweep the game awards, but no, we're going to put all our effort into Horizon and we hope it wins.
Well, here's
And
the
then
thing, though. I don't think the problem is Horizon, but when they release it. Like I tell you, if they release it later, it would garner way more sales and hype for sure.
yeah, well, I'm a hater, so I'm gonna blame it on Horizon because
Um.
Sony is definitely not. Well, I would not blame Sony because I mean, they're definitely trying something. I mean, they're stupid, but they're trying something. So I can't blame them too much. But once we see what happens, once we see the DLC win Game of the Year, then we're gonna have to start questioning pretty much everybody. We gotta question every single studio and wonder why nothing else could top it. I mean, if Wukong wins, then I think that that's a game that I think that it kind of deserves it. I do think that that game, it became popular because of the whole, the feminism controversy, the DEI. Like I think that game blew up because of all that nonsense.
Oh, it's not only that; it was the second Eastern game to have a controversy similar to this. Because before that, it was Stellar Blade, right?
Yep.
So
Oh
it
yeah,
was it's sort
yeah.
of a build up from what started with Stellar Blade.
Yeah, I mean, like they're not like I keep saying, but they're not bad. Like they look cool. Like I like Souls games, so I think that if I played it, I would enjoy it. Like Stellar Blade looks amazing because I mean, it's just eye candy. But people like games where you can be attractive all day. So you know, if those games won, then I wouldn't have an issue with it. Like people might say, well, it won because it was controversial. Yeah, but it was playable. It was entertaining. Like you at least have some you can back it up with actual proof that it has something to offer for
Yep.
sure. So it definitely does depend on where the judge is, which oof, I saw that post where, our votes don't matter. It's pretty much people in IGN and Kotaku and Polygon kind of deciding, well, here is our game of the year. And, since there's no Dragon Age in there, they really can't, it's slim pickings. It's either do you choose the monkey or do you choose Elden Ring?
Yeah, because like the people's vote is 10%, I think, and the rest of the votes are industry people, which means critics like IGN, Kotaku, and all these journals that said something is great while everybody hates it, and vice versa. So not the representing voice really.
Yeah, I know, right? Like that, they gave Concord a 7, so I don't think they'd have any room to
And
even
they
talk.
they gave Velgard a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, something like that.
Yeah, so it's like, I can def I can definitely see them not choosing the monkey. I think that, they I saw the posts, I saw the articles about it. I'm like, y'all weird. Like it's a game. Calm down.
Oh yeah, they
So
they did a big hit piece on Wukong for whatever reason. Like
yeah, but how
the monkey insulted them for some reason.
yeah, no, right, and that's racist. I think that is racist because these are like I mean I'm sure that I don't know if I'm sure you guys know about the whole about jokes about in the US where you compare monkeys to certain kind of people and start saying why is a monkey doing all this, like it just, I think if you were to say that in America towards a person, they would, oh, that's racist, dude, that's racist. So yeah, I think that for them it would be funny to see the hypocrisy kind of hit their face. Although, I mean, it has done that so many times. Like, you look at Stellar Blade, like it's like, oh man, how is that a woman? How is that a good-looking woman can be on here and insult us? Which I don't understand that. But then they go around and say, oh, well, Abby is the perfect woman. Like that's like how do you go to work thinking that repeatedly and then seeing the game that you push so hard not even get recognized? It gets hated. People hate it. They want to see it destroyed. Never want to see it again. So, them as a jury, yeah, right.
Although
I,
here's
I
the
mean, I,
thing with Wukong and Stellar Blade, they've made a lot of money. Like it's sold millions and millions those games, even if like they don't get awards. I think in the end, it got what like people bought it in the end. And I think that's the most important because that means they can continue to make stuff because they've made a big profit out of it. Like I think the creator for Stellar Blade like became like rich with Stellar Blade now because it was such a big hit.
yeah, and I mean, yeah, it's a good game. Like it definitely deserves credit because A, it has sold well. B, it's a game that people actually want to play. It's not a game where it's like, oh, it's a Sony game. Put it on PC because we want to make fan. Like, it's not that. It's actually a game where everybody from every console wants to say, give me that game, please. So it's good. Like they deserve that. Um, and in fact, like it makes me wonder why Astrobot was on the list because Astrobot sold less than Stellar Blade, and that game came out for what I guess the first week was, it was kind of hyped up as oh, it's gonna be game of the year because it's a Sony whatever, and next thing you know, dead. Like no one talks about the game anymore, unlike more like I guess like more of these the smaller people on Twitter now. They just kind of say Astrobot's cool, but yeah, the game didn't even sell that well. It's good, like it looks nice. You know, like if I had a 2 year old, they could play that. But yeah, Stellar Blade came out and like that knocked out. It was knocked out of the park pretty much. People liked that game. It was talked about longer. It sold way more copies. It has a bigger demand than Astrobot, I think. So that should
Oh
have
yeah,
been
for
Game of the Year.
sure. I want to see more. Like I've 100% in that game. Like uh it's for sure very very good, very well made. And but yeah, no. I think people are pissed off because I think it's obvious that the choices put in these categories are sort of curated. Oh, so Bellatro is like the sort of indie game that they want to put there just to say, look, we have an indie game. Then you have like all these other, you have the Square Enix big Final Fantasy game that you have to put there, even though it had mixed receptions and didn't sell that well compared to the other one. Well, you have to have Final Fantasy in the big ones. It's like what, you're not going to put Final Fantasy in the Game of the Year category? You're sick.
Yeah. Oh, and I I feel you 100% away, man. Like I agree all the way with that because I never even heard of Balatro. You know, I mean, I like indie games. I try and find as many as I can, but that one kind of just it was never really pushed out there. You know, but I saw people hyping it up. You know, saying that is game of the year potential. Like I mean, and when it if an indie game wins game of the year, I never I never question it because, I think that the fact that someone, whether it be a team of 10 people or one person, if they can make a game that gets that far in the gaming space, then, that is a job well done. I think
Didn't
that,
Stray won Game of the Year at some point? The cat game.
oh, I think it was nominated. I don't, well, I mean, if it did, then awesome. I know it was nominated.
Oh, it was nominated
Yeah, I think it was like
because
straight.
of Elden Ring and God of War
Oh,
Ragnarok and Horizon Forbidden West, so it had no chance.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
But it
You have
won best indie debut game.
Okay, yeah. Which I mean, that's and like if that game wins Game of the Year, I think that people will not be upset if that game wins because it's not a target of harassment. It's not this DEI game. It's not a controversial thing. It's just some guy made a card game. It blew up, and it won. We can go home and we can sleep easy. So, that's cool. But yeah, I do think that, they just say, look, guys, here's an indie game. Now you can stop saying that we're biased, even though you're letting one game, like you were only letting one DLC in there compared to all of the other five. But no, we're not biased, We're not biased towards you guys because we have, um, what other game you said it was? You said it was Watcher and some other game that you talk about how like they kind of just wanted to say, hey, we did this.
Wait, I'm going to get the nominees right. So we have Balatro as the indie darling. We have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth because you can't have a Final
Okay,
Fantasy that is
there
not
we
in
go.
the top games. You
Right.
have the Elden Ring DLC because it's from software. You have Astrobot because it's a PlayStation game
Yeah.
and PlayStation exclusive. I want to say actually, and you have Black Myth Wukong because otherwise there would be riots, and there's Metaphor Refantasio, which is from the creators of Persona. So you have
Right.
to have that as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I mean like, I think, I think so if Balatro wins and it was just there as a joke nomination, then hey, that's cool. It's worth it. People will I mean, if it wins, I'll be happy. Cuz when the small guy wins, everybody wins. If Metaphor wins, then that's cool. I never played Persona, but people like it, so hey, there's
I don't
no
know.
real
I don't
trouble
like
there.
I don't like it when it's just given for X reason. Like that's like why I don't watch the Oscars and all that, because at some point I sort of saw um these sort of well, given for specific reason, right? To seem like inclusive, to seem like whatever. And that doesn't sit right with me, right? So it's just a loss of time at this point if I feel like it's not representative of what people would actually want to see, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, definitely. I mean, and yeah, I know that I wouldn't play it. I just don't play Persona games. They look cool, but I don't have enough patience for it. So yeah, I guess you could say it is a shoehorn game. Yeah.
Well, I don't know because I never played Metaphor, but like you, I don't think Persona is my type of thing. So it could be a great RPG. I have no idea.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
it came in very late, so I'm sort of surprised to see it there, right?
oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, actually, you know what though? I don't. Yeah, let me see. Hmm, now when you mention that to me, I kind of want to say that it is kind of just a put it in there. Like it's not like just put it in there because it's a game. We'll move
Because
on.
everybody talked about it last month.
Yeah, I mean, and like, and you're right. It could be a great game, and I think that if it does win, but it wins because it's just on the list. That's just. I don't think that is. I don't think that it'll feel genuine. I think that it'll feel like they'll show, oh, this game came in, people like it. If it wins, then who cares? Like that, game of the year, even though it's an Oscars type thing and people don't care about it, it should be about, like you said, people. It represents gamers as a whole, the entire industry. This is a game that people either talk about in length, people enjoy it, there is a demand for it, and that is what Game of the Year stands for. Like, it's the game of that year. We want it, and it's there. So, Metaphor winning it definitely doesn't feel like it's genuine because not everybody wants to play the game. It's really just it's a Persona fans game, and that's a very small minority. But if it wins, then we'll have to find a way to make the reasoning work because there's too much going against it. Kind of like with Blantra, where if that game wins, it's great because small guy wins. But if it's winning because of pity, I don't like that. I don't think that's fair. But compared to those two, like that's I guess we could shoot and we could also talk about Afterlife because like that's a game that only people playing that game are the 40-year-old console warriors or kids. So, to make that a contender, I don't think that's fair. I think it is a, it is an exercise in nostalgia. 'Cause, you have all these you have the Craft Bandicoot, you have Yakuza, and you have all these old properties, Bloodborne, Infamous. But I don't think that that's enough to sway the audience. So it's not going to win. Sorry, I like Astrobot. It's not going to win. So it really is just now Wukong and Elden Ring. And those are two games that I could say are actually what gamers have been playing for the past year.
Well, I was gonna say, one award show that we won't have to worry too much about that kind of controversy will, of course, be our next podcast episode, which Pizza, I hope you're able to join on for. We're gonna be going over everyone's favorite game that they played this year. Doesn't have to be a game that came out this year, just a game that you either played for the first time this year or you went back into maybe to complete it this time around. Um, but yeah, I'm sorry, guys. It's been like 3 hours almost. I got a lot of editing to do. I just realized that for this podcast. But I really appreciate you guys hopping on. It was fun going over our takes as far as what next year is going to bring, and just talking more about the award show too. It was nice diving into it, and yeah, giving our hot takes on how we view that system. Am I coming through? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I
okay,
hear
sorry.
you. Yeah.
It was just dead
Yeah, but
silence. Sorry, at the beginning of the podcast when the JW was like completely silent, I was like, oh shit, he can't hear me. So I thought I was acting up again. um
Oh
anyway.
no, you're good. I thought I thought you guys could hear me because I thought like, it was just me kind of just rambling like, oh well, I guess I guess I was been muted, but I couldn't tell that you guys were actually listening to my whole rant about how gaming sucks apparently.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
no, I've
No,
been
no,
there
I
all along.
oh yeah, yeah. I think we've all just learned like after a while now from like interrupting each other like in past podcasts. I usually just stay like completely silent until I hear the other person like stop for a good long breath, and then I'll make a comment now.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's not. I like that. I can appreciate that. I can appreciate where we can all kind of just give our opinions, and then once we have finished our thoughts, we can just say, "Cool, your turn, man."
Exactly. But yeah, thank you guys so much for hopping on today, and I appreciate it. This was a fun one to do. And like I said, the next one, hopefully it'll be quite a few of us. Pizza, like I said, hopefully you're able to hop on. It'll be 2 weeks from now. So whatever date that is, I'll tag you in it.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, and I should be there because things are actually looking up over here in the real world. So I definitely will have way
Woohoo!
more flexibility.
All right. But yeah, you guys have yourself a wonderful evening. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Of
Yep.
course, man,
Till next time.
Till next time,
you got it.
guys. Um, and then just a quick little apology. If anyone was in my chat, which I'm gonna probably find in the next few seconds, I do apologize. I wasn't able to keep Restream on, as you saw. It was just way too hard for oh, it was, yeah, there was Z Chick. Oh wow, look, it's my face. That's embarrassing. Let's just turn that off. um oh wow, I missed a lot. My deepest apologies. Um, there was Z Chick and there was a new viewer. Anyway, yeah. So long story short, I couldn't have that open while I was doing the podcast. Unfortunately, because it just it just wasn't working out today with the Chromebook. But 3 hours into this, thank God we're not doing a lot of editing for this podcast. I just gotta fix up the parts that JW and me could hear each other, and then I'll probably just fire that up by the end of the week. But yes, I hope you guys have a beautiful evening, and I'm done rambling. I'll catch you next time. It's time for some food. Thank you, JW, and thank you. Wow, I'm not even gonna be able to say that. So I'm just gonna say the last part, machete. Thank you so much for hopping in tonight. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.